What a finish! What a man!
The drum roll finishes, and the target is hit.
And it comes on finals night, and it's a knockout
Brilliant! Dirty Harrison! Van Velzen!
What a start this would be. Double 60 for 134 singles. He's going to climb the ladder. Yes, he is. He's double 12, and double 12 is found. And he only needs the freeze. He finds the double 14.
On the third leg.
A superbly executed 116 from Adrian Gray. Hello, welcome along to the Modus Super Series from the live lounge here in Portsmouth. It's Friday night, the final night's worth of qualification through to Saturday's showpiece finale. And we have some big names here this evening. Yes, Matthew Edgar is with us in the studio once again to cast his eye over the action. And there's a big name in trouble tonight in Steve Beaton, potentially.
There is. I mean, if you look at the table, he's in a position where he's in the final qualifying position. But if you look at the performance, you would suggest if he does more of the same, not only is he going to qualify, but he could potentially win this group.
This is the second group of the day. Earlier on this afternoon, Group C came to its culmination. Jason Heaver won the group quite comprehensively, winning 9 out of his 10 matches. He's going to be joined alongside Dan Asprey through to the finals tomorrow evening. What would be your assessment of the way that Dan's progressed through the field?
He was quality today. He really did step it up. He's shown a bit of class. He's shown what he's been doing out on the various circuits. He's got some big wins under his belt. He's beat some big names and some big players. Got a couple of scalps, and I think he really started to show that experience that he's starting to gain out there. And it was a really good, polished performance today for Dan. He was the rightly winner in regards to that second position.
Well, let's have a look at the tournament bracket then. David Evans won Group A on Wednesday afternoon. Jason Heaver and Dan Asprey making it through Group C today, and Group B will find out who's going to make it through later on this evening. At the halfway point of proceedings is Adrian Gray that leads the way. 3 wins from 4, and we were mentioning it last night here in the studio that feels like, in terms of Adrian, a reliability about his game. When he's here, you kind of know the level he's going to play at, and it's going to be a decent level as well.
He was good, wasn't he, last night? And do you know what? Like I say last night, and I don't think that does it justice. I don't think that's fair to Adrian Gray, because I think the last 3 times he's been down here, he's been brilliant. We know we're going to get quite a lot of people in here. There's a lot of tickets sold for tomorrow night. If Adrian Gray can confirm his place, I think this place could be full, because he also brings with him quite a lot of support.
Conor Heneghan won his first 3 games, lost his last one, but there were signs last night that he's peaking at the right time.
So much better, wasn't it? He came here with a lack of confidence. The 9-darter on Monday probably did help his case in regards to giving him a little bit of confidence, something to cling to, some form of positivity. Getting into Group B was probably a positive action as well for him, and last night the performance was so much better. Tailed off at the end, but I don't think he'll be too worried about that. I think he'll look at it and go, well, what a successful evening. More of the same tonight.
Right, let's have a look at the odds and see what the bookies think about proceedings. Heneghan off 5-4 favourite, Adrian Gray 13-10. What's your thoughts on what the bookies are saying tonight?
I think for the first time this week, Steve Beaton represents value. At the start of the week, you wouldn't have got 4-1 on Steve Beaton to win the week. Now he's only got 2 points to find, and Adrian Gray's got to play Conor Heneghan, so one of them's going to drop points there. Steve Beaton beats both of those. He's back in the running. So I think Steve Beaton at 4-1, I wouldn't be surprised if that represents some value.
It is 18 plus, gambleaware.org if you're going to have a flutter on the Super Series tonight. Right, Steve Beaton is in action in the first game of the evening session, looking to book a third finals night appearance of 2025. And on every single Saturday evening occasion here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth, we open our doors to you. And if you want to be here for a Saturday night at the darts, just have a look at this. And you can be here on any given Saturday evening here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. And that is how you do so. Me and Matt having a little bit of a bop to that particular track whilst that video is ongoing. And that is a sample of what Saturday night can bring here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth for an evening here at the Modus Super Series. Game one of the night is a meeting between Steve Beaton and David Pallett. Steve, on his debut in this competition, but has played in a couple of specials weeks in 2025, the Legends League and Double Trouble. He made it through to the Saturday on both of those occasions, and he's looking to do so for a third time this year. He's 61-year-old who begins tonight in third place, 2 points ahead of David Pallett in the league table, who dropped off a little bit as the night went along yesterday. First time we've seen him on our screen since appearance at the Lakeside at the back end of 2023. An experience which didn't quite go well for him, but certainly looking to rebuild himself and using this year as an opportunity and a tool to really refine his game, get himself back to the levels that he knows he's capable of, and maybe then give the professional circuit
First
a bit more of a
Steve to throw first.
go from there. Jack
Game
Garwood
on.
is the referee in charge of all of the action. 10 live matches for you this evening across Pluto TV. We're live in the United Kingdom and across associated
45.
territories, courtesy of the Pluto TV app. And of course, if you're watching on the go, you can watch wherever you are. David Pallett looking to get a move on
42.
this Friday night. You get the sense that he's got to get off to a quick start here if he's going to have any chance at all of qualifying through.
Yeah, and I don't think that's the concern right now for David Pallett. Yes, we know he went to Q School probably to see how he fared there. I think that's more the case at the moment, seeing how he fares, making sure the issues don't flare up. It's more of a tester to himself at the moment. And as much as he's going to want to win games right now, I think he just wants to feel competitive. I think he just wants to feel that he can just throw the darts with ease and enjoyment. But there's not going to be much
96.
enjoyment tonight. This isn't a group for enjoyment. It's a group full of quality players, quality operators that is going to kickstart his night playing against a world champion.
Steve Beaton rose to the summit of the Lakeside back in 1996, 29 years ago now. He saw his adversary in that particular final depart earlier on this afternoon in Richie Burnett. And so he
60.
holds the torch for the legends of the game as far as this particular week is concerned. He finds himself just behind Adrian Gray and Conor Heneghan, who top this Group B on 6 points, and Beaton has left himself on a finish after a dozen darts, looking at the 120 to take a 1-0 lead in this match. He's going to get 6 darts from this point to do exactly that. He's found the treble. He's found the double top, and so it's double 10.
Game shot on the
Matters
first
nonetheless.
leg. Steve Beaton.
And Steve Beaton kicks the night off with a ton plus checkout. The 120 goes. The Bonds Adonis 1-0 to the
Second leg,
good.
it's David to throw first.
Didn't get any last night. That's his
Game
first one in the box for this Group B campaign. And I'm surprised you didn't pick up on something there, Henry.
Go on.
He's just done a checkout with 3 different reds.
140.
That'd be good in a game half it.
Well, at the minute, Steve Beaton is pocketing more reds than Ronnie O'Sullivan at the
100.
Crucible. But for David
57.
Pallett, the struggles that were kind of systemic with the end of last night's session just looks like it's kind of eked into the
100.
embryonic stages of Friday night.
I don't want to send up the stress signals too early. But the throw doesn't
59.
look as fluent tonight for David Pallett.
100.
How many times do you as well say it about players like David Pallett? The first night you can kind of relax a little bit, but we actually find out more about a player that's been in his kind of position and his kind of shoes when it gets to the second night's worth of play in a group.
Yeah, I mean, I did it myself. If you remember, I stepped in and filled in a
59.
spot at last minute about a year or so ago. Group B, first night, won 6 points, played okay. Next night, lost all the games. And felt
127.
never felt comfortable at one moment. And sometimes it's because you've done okay, you set a bar, you feel, okay, that was good. I reckon I could maybe get something going here. You get a bit of hope.
And what isn't helping David Pallett is Steve Beaton has started very well. 15 data to win leg 1 on for potential 14 data to break the Pallett
Steve
throw.
requires
But that,
74.
a far more encouraging visit from Pallett, and he'll be hoping to get a go. And he is going to get a go because Steve Beaton has missed a big number.
35. David,
And
you
he's then
require
gone for the single
41.
20 to leave 39, and he's very quickly realised the error of his ways.
No, I think he thought he won tops. I think he thought the 1 was a 20. He's done this before, Steve Beaton,
Game shot on the second leg.
and he's lost a
David
leg.
Pallett.
He's done it on Double Trouble week where he's hit tops and carried on throwing at it. He's had very similar things, and
Third leg, it's Steve
yeah,
to throw
I'm
first.
pretty certain that
Game
he
on.
thought the 1 was a single 20.
And he's been severely punished for it.
76.
We know Steve's not going to be one that will let that linger over into this leg and be a blockade to his progress in this particular match. But for David Pallett, who
100.
up until that point has been comprehensively being outplayed, that might just be the type of moment he needed just to get himself on the
95.
board and make himself feel better.
He's tense. Dave Pallett is tense. And with that, you're going to see darts start to drop low like that, a bit of an angle on the dart. You're going to see the dart kick where the flight's going to move to the right-hand side.
95.
You're still finding targets, but I guarantee you, whatever he's feeling like this, it doesn't matter if it's a 180, he's not going to feel positive.
57.
The dartboard will not give him the feedback right now. He needs to find that fluency within himself. See what I mean? They was quite positive darts. They was, if you just look at the dartboard side, that was a nice time.
45.
The context of the game, he's ahead. He's looking at a breaker throw.
Well, most of the time we'll say about players that it's a
100.
results-based business, but for David this week, it feels like more than just results that's going to matter for him.
This is not David Pallett versus Steve Beaton. This is David Pallett versus
140.
David Pallett.
David, you require 106.
He's looking at 106 to get the break. Double top. for what would have
66.
been the second
Steve
plus check out of the match.
88.
Beaton may just get a dart at the bullseye here. He's going to get 2 in his hand at double 14. Double 7 goes,
shot on the
and
third
Beaton
leg.
finds
Steve
himself
Beaton.
2-1 to the good.
Fourth flag. It's David to throw first. Game on.
Steve played some really good stuff last night. Average for the evening just under 92, 91.97. His doubling really, really functional. 11 out of 28 on the outer ring, 39% in terms of his doubling last night. And it kind of felt like the story of his evening was kind of similar to some patterns of play as far as Group A were concerned, where he was playing around that level. He's been playing around them numbers all week long. But it's felt like the opposition have raised their game when they play the Bons d'Adonis.
$100.
He keeps getting that first dart right, doesn't he, Dave Pallett? Should be plenty to build on. And sat nicely in the board.
100.
But you've just got to watch Dave's reactions, haven't you? And
43.
even positive darts don't look that positive. He nearly did a 15 darter in the last leg. That'd been 100 average for the leg.
Is it because they're not going in the way they're used to? So regardless of where it hits, what target area it hits, because it doesn't feel like it is before, it doesn't feel right.
He doesn't feel in control of the
57.
situation, I think, is what we're seeing here.
116.
Because he's finding plenty. 7 scores of a ton or more. 2 140s. But he shook his head on every single
56.
visit.
Well, prior to that throw, he was averaging more than Steve Beaton in this contest. And he's going to get a couple of darts at double 2 level things up.
Requires 60. Game shot on the
And he finds the top. And we are level at 2-2. And this is very much a contest in our first match of the evening session here.
Fifth flag. It's Steve to throw first. Game on.
Contest which Steve Beaton didn't really want to be drawn into.
54.
And when he hit that 120 to win the opening leg of this encounter, it felt like here we go again with Steve Beaton. Maybe he's just going to find that flash. And he really was flashing his opening match yesterday. 96.97 average and dismantling Joe Murnan 4-1. In a similar type of game to this. But it certainly felt a little bit more hard work for the Bons d'Adonis, who said the last time he was here and he played the full week at the double start competition that by day 5, the body really was causing him some problems. He really was beginning to feel the tiredness, really beginning to feel the fatigue of the competition.
100. $134.
That's why he's just got to get himself through to Saturday night, because that's where the adrenaline can come in, the feedback, the energy that will come from a crowd. And there is going to be a crowd here tomorrow night. Quite a lot of tickets sold, not many left.
And Pallett here is going to get 6 starts on 164 to get the breaker throw and open up a 3-2 lead. Being unable to leave himself on a finish. And this game could very quickly swing in Pallett's favour. Wasn't going to attempt the completion of the check out there, but what he has done is leave himself on double 12 after 12. And after a slow start, this has been really, really handy from David Pallett. He's threatening the break, and if he gets it, he's got the darts for the match in the next.
And a quality leg. 12 darts thrown, double 12. Two sixes.
18.
Not
landed.
landed.
110.
This would be a bit of a steal for Steve Beaton. He should be getting a dart He will get a dart, but it's not the target he probably expected
Edge
it
on
to
the
be,
fifth
and
flag,
that
Steve Beaton.
is a bit of a steal. David Pallett reacts at the back of the stage with disappointment.
Sixth flag, it's David to
He'll
throw
know
first. Game on.
that he had that in his own hands there, David Pallett. That might be his best opportunity to win this game. He might not get another break chance.
Well, Steve Beaton's had 2 ton-plus checkouts in this game, and both have come
131.
innocuously off of double-doubles. He's just getting that little bit of the rub of the green at this present moment in time. And for David Pallett, who
42.
must have felt he'd left himself in a great position to move 3-2 up, miss 3 darts at a double, and has been subsequently punished, and now finds himself on the back foot.
56. $60.
The scoring power really is beginning to desert Steve here, isn't it? Pallett must be sensing opportunity.
108.
And that is his first maximum of the night. And it leaves him on 1-3-4 and plenty of time on his side
134.
to take this game all the way to a last leg decider. Let's look at it, 54 tops. He's knocked the 4 off. But hasn't made the
33.
inroads he would have liked. Only a maximum's going to leave Steve Beaton on a finish from here, and so Pallett is going to get plenty more time to
100.
put this leg in
David,
room
require
101.
101.
But what he doesn't want to do is make this leg a bit scrappy. He wants to get this done as cleanly as possible, but any attempt to do that thus far have been in vain. But double 19 for what
63.
would have been the 3rd ton-plus checkout of the match goes a-begging. But he's going to come back for more because Steve Beaton has not found that scoring radar in this leg.
98.
Just about
David,
leaves
require
himself on a finish
38.
by pinning the treble 19 with the last dart. And so Pallett splits and looks at double 16 with 2 in hand.
22. Steve, you require 143.
Steve Beaton looking for a 3rd ton-plus checkout to win the match, but he's not going to find the 1-4-3. And the fact that he knows the route to that particular
43.
finish will very
David,
much
you
impress
require
Gary
16.
Neville. Those that know will know. 2-8 for
Edge on
Pallett,
the
and we
sixth
go all the
flag,
way to a
David
last leg
Pallett.
decider.
Seventh and final leg. It's Steve to throw first. Game on. $95. $59.
Well, these two can't be separated, and perhaps appropriate that we're going all the way to a last leg decider in this
41.
opening match of the evening session. To kind of paint another sporting analogy about it, Matt,
100.
it's felt like one of those games that neither player's really done enough to win.
100.
It must be the reverse of Steve Beaton's week, wouldn't it? Because he's sort of been in a position where you feel he probably should have got more, and in this game it may be the opposite way round. They do say everything balances out eventually. Steve Beaton's just had to wait 5 days for his potential balancing act, but he's still got to get the job done here. And he's getting the job done very well.
140.
David Pallett got to leave himself within range, just in case the miss comes from Steve Beaton.
Well, the timing for Beaton with that 140 is as perfect as could be. Pallett himself, you sense, needs another one. He's going to head down for the 25 because that would have left
99.
himself on a
Steve require
2-darter.
85.
Beaton will be back for 85. 20 and bull. Triple E's double 5 for the match.
75.
That is a
David,
match
you
start that's
require
gone a begging for Steve
103.
Beaton, and David Pallett's going to get his own opportunity to seal this contest. Here's the treble 16. doesn't get, and so Beaton will return for double 5 to
41.
move himself onto 6 points and to move himself full clear of David Pallett. And to get his night off to a perfect start. It was hard work at times for Steve Beaton, but he's been able to get out the gate with an opening win, just like he did at the end of last night. He's got the better of David Pallett, who heads back to the hockey to try and right the wrongs of what's just happened there. Beaton a 4-3 victor. That the tail of the tape. A couple of ton plus checkouts really swinging the game in the direction of the Bonds Adonis. That's game 1 done and dusted. Beaton moves on to 6 points. Next up, we're going to see Heneghan in action, and he takes on Joe Murnan. Are you ready to lift that trophy, Darius?
Yes.
Let's do it then. Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series 9 champion is Lucky D, Darius Labanowski!
Well, what a wonderful night of darts we have seen, and we are ready. Our champion is ready, and it's trophy time. So receive the trophy. £25,000. The new Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And one more time, the 8th Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And the new Modus Super Series champion is Andreas Dirty Harrison. And one more time, the 7th Modus Super Series champion. Give it up for Andreas Dirty Harrison.
The moment we've all been waiting for. Would you please show your appreciation for your Series 6 Modus Super Series champion, Scott Taylor?
One more time, your new Modus Super Series champion. He is Chucky. He is Jim McEwen.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series champion, retaining his title, the Luke Lidlow! Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. Before the break, Steve Beaton, aided and abetted by a couple of ton plus checkouts, got the better of David Pallett by 4 legs to 3 to kick off the evening's action. Game 2 is a meeting between Joe Murnan and Heneghan. And, well, for some of you, that may feel like a little bit of a kick clash when you see the apparel that both players have got on this evening. For Joe Murnan, it was a night where he picked up just 2 points, but the 2 points came in this fixture. A 41-year-old from Halliwell, and he'll be hoping all swell come the end of the evening's action, as he'll be hoping to book another finals night spot. Up against the 26-year-old Conor Heneghan from round 4 in the Republic of Ireland, looking for a second Champions Week appearance a year after his first. He won each of his opening 3 fixtures last night, and he looked really good in moving into 6 points in the group, but was thwarted in terms of completing the card by Joe Murnan post-midnight. But
First
what can he
leg,
do
it's Joe to throw
against
first.
the dartist formerly known
on.
as Shaggy prior to midnight?
I'm guessing that was actually pun intended then, post-midnight.
43.
Oh, yes. But Conor Heneghan yesterday, the first 3 games, he was really good. His overall stats on the night, 91.95 average, highest average just under the ton in his 4-2 victory against Steve Beaton. Doubling at times left a little bit to be desired, 12 from 39, 30%
99.
all told. But it was a really good display, the first 3 games, wasn't it, from Conor?
Yeah, it's the best performance we've seen from him all week, really, last night. It was solid, it was
59.
consistent, it was quality. Just tailed off in the last game, but he'll be more than happy with how he played in those first 3, especially game number 3. 99.48.
And that was an average which dragged below the ton because for so long it was in excess of that mark. He provided his best stuff for Steve Beaton, as seemingly everybody's done against the Bonds Adonis. And that is maximum number 1 of the evening for Conor Heneghan. Last night, only had 3 of them, which is perhaps a little bit of a shock when you consider the scoring power that Conor Heneghan possesses at times. But he has certainly found his scoring boots here. Really good first leg, attacking the Joe Murnan throw. 160, plays 116, and it is Murnan first poke to take out the opening leg of this contest. Looking at another one of them. Couldn't find, and so Heneghan just needs the 1 triple here to leave himself on a double, and a double is exactly what Joe Murnan's left after that turn. Well, the first dart was a beautiful guide for the second. The triple is located, but he was unable to pin the double 18. And so Murnan will get 3 in his hand at double 10. Now looking up at double 5.
10.
Bends the wire, but couldn't get.
What do you require? 18.
Double 9 for the 9-dart man.
Nine. Do you require 10? Game shot on the
just the
first
1-9
leg.
for
Joe
Heneghan.
Murnan.
Joe Murnan takes the leg. Heneghan's told us he'd like to be the first player to get 2
Second
9s
leg
in a
is
week.
Conor to throw first.
And
Game on.
I do believe we've not had one hit on a Saturday night before.
No, Conor Heneghan has actually come the closest to doing it. Grazed the
59.
double 12, and another week which he hit a 9-darter when he hit his second one against Alan Norris. He is one that does have a look at the
81.
record books. He was very quick to say when he hit the 9-darter on Monday that he's now gone above Steve West on the tally of 9-darters and the haul of perfect legs that we've had here
59.
at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. And you know exactly what's going to happen the next time Steve West is here. He's going to get that bit between the teeth
57.
about it because he'll want his record back.
I have zero doubt
57.
in regards to Steve West and his desire to get that record. Still waiting. Don't think we've had one on the
100.
specials week yet, have we?
No, we haven't. Although, admittedly, a couple of them have been double star, which makes it a darn sight harder.
Has been done 3 times before, though.
44.
Brendan Dolan, James Wade, Robert Thornton, the World Grand Prix.
99.
Well, Conor Heneghan lost this fixture 4-0 yesterday, and if he's not careful, he looks as if he's going to be on the cusp of going 2-0 down in this particular contest.
45.
Joe Murnan
You
could hit
require
Heneghan for 6.
164.
Prediction time. Which specials week will provide the first 9-darter?
86.
Will it be the first pairs 9-darter in a broadcast event? Will we get a double start, double finish? Will it be a women's week?
I reckon it's Young Guns week.
Yeah, I was going to go. That's why I didn't mention it. I didn't want to prompt you.
78.
Murnan looking at 78 to get the break and to double his advantage. He's all over Conor Heneghan in the early exchanges of this contest. He pins the tops to get the break and leads 2-0. It was a slow end to the night for Conor Heneghan against Joe Murnan yesterday. And this evening has kick-started with the man from round 4 unable to get around and find any kind of change against Joe Murnan.
And all of a sudden, Joe Murnan, who lost his first 3 games, could be back in contention here to get himself into Saturday night. And he will need to, really, when you think about the journey down for Joe Murnan, that's quite the trek.
140.
In some ways, this is a good result for everybody because Heneghan will be stuck on 6, which gives Adrian Gray and Steve Beaton the opportunity to move clear on 8 and open up a bit of daylight. And for Joe Murnan and David Pallett, it means that Conor Heneghan is still at an attainable distance in 3rd position.
119.
The only person that's not liking this scenario right now is Conor Heneghan himself. Because suddenly, the man that looked to complete the card last night
100.
suddenly looks like he's stuck in a tungsten purgatory.
$96.
Well, Heneghan first to a finish against the throw, but Murnan looking to leave it far more handier from this particular position.
82.
Picks off a triple with the last dart.
146.
And you get the sense that Heneghan needs a moment of inspiration, but that inspired moment is going to come by way of the 146.
86.
He's going to leave himself handy enough, single to double, if Murnan cannot find the 119. To really boss this match. He's not going to find the treble, and so Heneghan, providing he stays straight, should have a couple of darts at tops. But that was under the bravado that he could keep dart 1 straight. It's only going to be one at that target.
40.
It drops low, and there looks like some real worrying signs for Conor Heneghan at the beginning of tonight's play. Murnan looking at tops for a 3-0 lead. Double 10. Cruise control.
Joe Murnan.
He probably can't believe how easy this task has been at this present moment in time. Averaging just under 82, but has had all the luxury that he could want. And Conor Heneghan is not waiting around to get leg 4 started.
140.
Well, Conor Heneghan's yet to win a leg against Joe Murnan this week. Joe Murnan won this game 4-0 yesterday. He's on course for the same again. That would be some head-to-head clash to beat Conor Heneghan 8-0 on aggregate. Not many people will do that at the Super Series.
85.
And particularly when you add in the context as to how this fixture was yesterday. As I say, it was the top player against the bottom player at the time. It was the previously unbeaten Conor Heneghan against Joe Murnan. Hadn't won a match as of yet.
6.
But how quickly things can change in the Super Series format if Murnan reels off this particular contest. A 6-point buffer
44.
turns into a 2-point buffer. And suddenly Joe Murnan's got his tail up and Conor Heneghan would have his tail between his legs.
59.
But he has got 6 darts here from 2-3-2 to get a leg on the board.
100.
Picks off the triple with the last dart to leave himself a 1-3-2 after a dozen.
Conor, you require 132.
To get his first leg on the board against Joe Murnan. I don't feel he would have gone for the ball, even though he actually went for the treble 17. Joe Murnan back on the 182. Gives Conor Heneghan a bit of time, but that time is swiftly reducing. That's a sensible last start there for Joe Murnan.
72.
The 25 and the ball.
And so Heneghan to get something on the board. Looking at double tops. Already missed 5 and a double in this match, but he's not going to miss a 6th attempt, and he's not going to allow Joe Murnan a match-winning opportunity in this leg. But Shaggy has the
Fifth flag,
insurance
it's Joe to
policy
throw
of
first.
the darts in this
Game
one
on.
to get the game wrapped up.
$43.
Well, it is the weekend of the
85.
Masters Golf Tournament at the Augusta National Club, and for Joe Murnan, he'll be hoping for a par for the course leg to get himself back into the clubhouse with a victory to his name.
125.
It's Adrian Gray that was the clubhouse leader overnight. And he will be teeing off his campaign in a few moments' time against David Pallett. But Conor Heneghan is looking to build a bit of a charge here. Was 3-0 behind. Got a leg on the board on throw in the last leg. And now
41.
making severe inroads on the Joe Murnan throw here. Looks like he's beginning to find something here, Conor.
100.
It's not too late. Short format can turn around so quickly.
140. Conor, you require 136.
Both want to finish, but Heneghan's taken the darts. We'll hope for 6 and 136. He'll be hopeful that Murnan cannot take out the 152,
100.
particularly
So you
now he's picked
require
off the trouble to leave himself on a
152.
double after a dozen. But Murnan's looking at another one of them, which would have left him double 16 for the match, and so Heneghan to
96.
extend the
Conor, you
game
require
furthermore has got 3 in
36.
his hand at double 18. And he's got a beautiful guide.
Game shot on the
Utilises
fifth
it
leg.
perfectly.
Conor Heneghan.
A 14 dart break for Conor Heneghan, and suddenly it's game back on here.
Sixth flag. It's Conor to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, Joe Murnan will be thinking, I've got to put this guy to bed. He's coming back. He's hitting hard. And it may not be in this
140.
leg because Heneghan with the advantage of throw and a strong start could run away from him very quickly. Murnan may need to try and pull it out in the last leg shootout.
134.
How many times have we seen it in this best of 7 format? Just when you think
125.
just when you think that one outcome looks likely, suddenly somebody just puts their foot on the throttle for a couple of minutes and the complexion of a
60.
contest changes. And the complexion of this one has completely swung. The pendulum now swings forth in the favour of the man from round 4. Conor Heneghan, with an
25.
untimely bounce out, may have just stopped the momentum that was just beginning to build up in this match.
It won't be too damaging unless Murnan finds something big.
101.
That's due to the fact that Conor Heneghan doing a lot of damage in the opening 6 darts. Still got it in his hands. Still got the advantage of the throw.
58.
Not using it. In steps Joe Murnan, knows this is a chance.
It could well be the chance.
100.
Great pick off for
Conor,
the
you
triple at the
require
last dart.
153.
Heneghan 153 to save the contest. But you can't start a fire. You can't start a fire without a spark,
135.
but Heneghan
Joe, you
couldn't
require
apply the firework
106.
finish, and so Joe Murnan will come back looking at 106 to seal it. And so
82.
Heneghan's going to come
Conor, you
back for double
require
9
18.
to take us all the way. Still hasn't faced a match start against him.
No
But
score.
Joe Murnan's going to get 3
You
here.
require
A
24.
double 12 to wrap it up, and to complete the double over Hino. It's double 6. It's
Game
double
shot and
6
the match,
for Joe
Joe
Murnan
Murnan.
to seal a 4-2 victory against Conor Heneghan. And suddenly what looked like a comfortable group for Conor Heneghan, having won his opening 3 matches, has become a little bit too congested for his liking. Joe Murnan's done the double over the Irishman and has put himself back in contention as a consequence. A 4-2 victory for him. Coming up after the break, the table topper, Adrian Gray, takes on David Pallett.
54. Charlie Maguire, 164. 44. 32. Charlie require 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls of this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
require
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
$40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts. But he'll be coming back.
It's a moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the
81.
stage,
Charlie
approaching the
required
hockey with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone.
Georgia
I think
require
he's gone to
118.
bust it, maybe. The first title he won, he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust, and
39.
on that situation there, George
require
Gay wasn't even
9.
able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia requires
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
$59. Charlie
Threw the entire
require
body into that
8.
one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
Georgia require 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy.
Go!
Couldn't get the job
Gets it.
done.
Got out the match! And the Red Dragon
George
Modus
Skate.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Skate!
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. Before the break, Joe Murnan got the better of Heneghan by 4 legs to 2 to move on to 4 points in this Group B. Our third match of the night is a meeting between the players at the top and the bottom of the league as Adrian Gray takes on David Pallett. For Adrian, he picked up 3 wins from 4 last night. And because Heneghan got off to such a positive start, maybe some of his performances went under the radar a little bit. Lost his opener to the Irishman, but then won each of his last 3 to claim top billing going into tonight's play. David Pallett's already had a game tonight. He's lost 4-3 to Steve Beaton. There was positive signs towards the end of that particular contest for David as he takes on Adrian, the 44-year-old from St Leonard's on Sea. The conqueror, 3 times a weekly semi-finalist, once a finalist, lost out to
First
Marvin
leg,
van
it's David
Velzen
to throw first.
in the final of Series
Game
8,
on.
Week 10. And top of the table, in a very good position. Numbers last night, 88.13 was his average over the course of the session, but his strong point, without any shadow of a doubt, was his finishing.
128.
14 from 25 on the doubles, 56% over the course of the session.
Impressive. Very impressive numbers. Very impressive player these days
83.
as well. Been around for a while. Got the experience. Got some big scalps himself. Would be a real danger should he be able to get through to Saturday night. Which is actually shaping up quite nice.
100.
Jason Heaver. Very, very good in Group C. Dan Asprey, a good day today. David Evans winning Group A. And he has been watching. He's been keeping an eye on things, seeing how people are playing, may even be watching this evening.
Adrian's one of those players that has been knocking on the door. You can kind of say about Adrian, kind of what we've been saying for Conor Heneghan before he won his first weekly title. We know the talent that he's got.
92.
He's been getting closer and getting closer without crossing the line yet. Narrowly missed out at the double start week on the Saturday. To Steve Beaton, it went down to averages after every other metric was level after the 10 games they played in that group. 0.7 of an average separated the pair. In matter of fact, it was a couple of handfuls worth of darts that was the difference in terms of the average metric, which determined who went through and who went out, and it just about fell in the favour of the Bontadonis. But the first leg looked like it's going to fall in the favour of David Pallett, down to 81 after 12 on throw. And Adrian Gray, in terms of scoring stakes so far, hasn't yet got out the traps. And for Pallett, this is a comfortable first leg that he was probably praying for.
$26. David, you require 32.
For sure, Adrian Gray not starting as bright as he did last night. David Pallett already been on the stage. He's had a game. It wasn't a positive experience. He lost out to Steve Beaton. But it took two big finishes of Steve Beaton to be able to see
Adrian to throw first.
Dave Pallett.
Game on.
Interesting to see. Maybe the soft tip experiences have rubbed off on Adrian Gray a little bit, because the phantom throw in the build-up, very much something that you see from players in Asia, very much something that you see with players that are associated with the soft tip game.
And sleeves. That's something he's not yet adopted, is it? But it wouldn't surprise me if Adrian Gray has certainly tinkered or experimented with this compression sleeve.
Not the first player to do the phantom throw on the
43.
live lounge stage. Couple of players who've now gone on to win tour cards have seen 94. That as a way of loosening up before a visit.
100. $99.
Ever something you'd adopt, that Matt?
I'll just imagine you asked,
6.
is it any something I would adopt? And, you know, no, personally. But on the same aspect, I've not adopted throwing the darts recently, so...
No, just throwing tantrums instead.
60.
I do apologise, I got my words mixed up.
$58.
Well, Adrian Gray here looking to level this game back up at one apiece.
$100. Adrian, you require 140.
140 for Gray. And he's found the treble that he wanted. It's going to leave himself tops, providing he stays straight here.
100.
He's done exactly that. Pallett
90.
may just get a dart at the bullseye off the back of this 90. Double 15. Doesn't go. Gray comes back for tops.
Adrian, you require
Ironically, the target that sunk him, wasn't it? When Steve Beaton took out the 110 in very unusual style. But the doubles were strong for Adrian Gray last night. They're strong again tonight. Levels it up. Dave Pallett may look back at that opportunity
Third leg, it's
as
David
one where
to
he
first.
didn't gain
Game on.
control, one where he could have really made a claim for this fixture.
60.
Dave Pallett, the first player to approach the stage for the second time, and if he isn't to get the result here,
6.
he will find himself bottom of the table. Points adrift of the qualifying places by 4. He's in big danger, isn't he, if Pallett doesn't win here? Because everybody else has got to go and play again before
91.
Dave Pallett gets another opportunity to put any points on the board.
Well, you felt he could have ill-afforded a stinker of a start, David Pallett, and that is exactly what is happening thus far. But he has to take
85.
advantage of the fact that Adrian Gray has not got out the traps yet.
$100. $47.
Well, Pallett here, 6 darts from establishing a 2-1 lead in this contest.
42.
But he's had a couple of slippy darts like that.
$139.
A couple of troubles there. He's left Adrian Gray first to fish, left himself on the fish. How handy can Pallett leave it from this particular point? And all of a sudden, the complexion of this leg has changed. It felt like, for large swathes of this leg, it was going to be a comfortable Pallett
60.
hold. But at
Adrian, you
60
require
there, yes, he's left himself an all
170.
manageable finish. But Adrian may feel like he's got 6 here from the 170. And he'll be hopeful that he's got 6 from this particular point.
84. David, you require 148.
Another leaves himself topped just
128.
underneath.
Adrian, you
So
require
Adrian himself will be
86.
looking at the 18s.
Really is giving it everything he's got, David Pallett. But this would feel like another big blow.
Game shot on the third leg.
That'll
Adrian
feel a little
Gray.
bit of a steal for Adrian Gray. He's got the break of throw in a leg, which, in terms of scoring phases,
flag,
David
it's
Pallett
Adrian to throw
dominated,
first.
and
Game on.
Pallett's taken a bit of a step back.
When that double 16 went in, David Pallett threw one of his darts up in the air and attempted to catch it.
100.
That could have gone horribly wrong. One of the things you don't want to be juggling with in the middle of a match is a dart.
128.
And then straight after that, decided to put himself on the naughty step. And for Adrian Gray, this could be a massive step in the right direction for him. If he wins this, he's on 8 points. One more win would guarantee his
123.
place through. But if we're going to be brutally honest about things, Joe Murnan's on 4 points. Gray would be on 8 points. There'd be a 4-point gap between the pair with 6
45.
left to play for. And the way that the rest of the group is panning out, you would say that Adrian Gray, even though he wouldn't mathematically be sure of qualification, you'd get the sense would be as good as. Particularly with the legs
43.
difference advantage he would have, particularly if he can rack up a big victory. Any kind of win, you'll have a 5-leg gap to Joe Murnan and 4 points in
100.
4th place. And it would also mean that David Pallett couldn't catch Adrian in this particular group with 4 points left to play for and then 6 points behind the conqueror.
$140.
Adrian looking at 95 to move 2 clear, needing just 1 more for victory.
140.
And that top 40 there for Pallett. He's left himself in a manageable position. Both players on pop finishes, but who is able to convert first? Adrian Gray goes to the ball and gets the ball. And he's going to give himself a dart, a double 16.
79.
Just Gray's on the inside. Pallett may only get a dart at the bull at the end of this.
88.
But if he can find it, he gets the crucial break back that he needs. Single 18 for the bull. The treble leads double 7.
74.
Adrian Gray
Adrian, you
couldn't
require
watch.
16.
Stood at the back of the stage looking over at the balcony, just listening, hoping that he doesn't hear Jack Garwood call game shot.
Game shot on the 4 flag.
He'll be glad he
Adrian
hears it
Gray.
now, though. He's a leg away from victory.
Now David Pallett's attempting the
5th
phantom
flag,
throw.
it's David to throw first.
Well, that's the
Game
first time I've seen the phantom throw actually at the oche, though. Normally it happens at the back of the stage.
64.
But he's played all right at times, but he's not looked right. It's looked tense, it's looked tight. We know the issue he's faced in the past, and it seems like he's battling a little bit with that this evening.
Trying to think which players have done the phantom throw on this stage. I can give you one. Bakura Suzuki.
59.
Any others you can think of?
David Pallett.
Adrian Gray.
$41.
And others who at this time shall remain nameless. $100.
This is my point with David Pallett, where you know he's battling himself. The first dart goes in the treble 20, lovely. The second dart, not far away. It weren't like it was a pull, just a bit low, but he knows he's not throwing them right. You can tell.
108.
It's going to be a battle all through the evening. David Pallett versus David Pallett. There was a lot of hope for David coming here as well, wasn't there, on the back of that title in Romania, the success at Q School Stage 1. The only reason he wasn't in the final stage where the tour cards are awarded is because he chose not to be. The only player who did pull out at that stage. Now, since we've heard a lot of players come out and say, well, I didn't really want a tour card,
120.
but they still played
David
stage 2.
require 150.
And what David Pallett did gave Adam Lipscomb the opportunity of a
128.
lifetime. And
Adrian,
boy,
you
has he ran
require
with that.
100.
Adrian Gray here, looking at a ton to win the match. And to move himself onto 8 points and to move it oh so close to qualification. Double top.
Game shot
Puts
and
the
match.
seal on it with
Adrian
a
Gray.
14 darter. Well, it wasn't the greatest display from Adrian Gray. Slow out the tracks, but he'd be happy enough with the points that he's got. And tonight, well, it's all about results. Tells him to switch on, a mop of the brow. He's on to 8 points. He's most likely there, but one more win will guarantee his passage through to tomorrow night's final. A 4-1 victory for him then against David Pallett, who is behind the 8 ball now. Connor Heneghan and Steve Beaton, one of them be on 8, but who? Let's find out on the other side of this commercial break. Welcome back to the salubrious Modus Live Lounge here in Portsmouth for the Modus Super Series. Before the break, Agent Gray, when he moved one step closer to returning here tomorrow night, a 4-1 victory against David Pallett puts him to within a victory of qualification. Game number 4 is a meeting between two players who find themselves locked on 6 points. As Steve Beaton and Conor Heneghan go head-to-head. For Steve, he beat David Pallett in his opening game of the night with a couple of tub plus checkouts. But for Conor Heneghan, who won each of his opening 3 in this group, he's coming into this particular contest on the back of back-to-back defeats against Joe Murnan. And for Conor, you get the sense, Matt, that it's just about getting back on the horse, getting back on the winning trail in any way possible.
It's not the guy you want to be playing when you're in that position, is it, Steve Beaton? Very, very strong performer this week. I would say some of the most consistent darts we've seen from Steve Beaton for the last couple of years.
58.
And ironically, still not confirmed for Saturday night.
I wouldn't be surprised if his head's in a little bit of a spin as to how this week has panned out. Because if you said to him, I'm going to average, 91 for the week, pretty much is what he's done. He'd say, yep, I'll take that, and I should be through to Saturday, and it should be quite comfortable. But then you put the results that have been put in his direction, you'll think, what on earth is happening here?
129.
But it's been a case this week of players raising their game when they have faced the great man. And Conor Heneghan has got off to a great start in this contest. He's got 6 starts on 170 to take the opening leg. And he's left himself on a double after 12 to do exactly that.
Exactly the response that Conor Heneghan needed, wasn't it?
85. Conor, you require 36.
Maybe just feels comfortable playing Steve Beaton. 13 darter to kickstart proceedings there. It was a 99.48 against Steve Beaton yesterday.
Second leg, it's Steve to throw first.
Did resist a very good performance of Steve Beaton himself, averaging just shy of the 95. Maybe it's the amount of times they played each other this week. There's just no fear factor there anymore for Conor Heneghan. He just enjoys playing the bronzed Adonis.
Well, Conor Heneghan has been here enough to have played some big name stars and to have played some legends of this sport. So I don't think there's going to be an opponent which is going to overhaul him or overhaul him. In his Super Series experiences, he has played some big name players, some legendary figures. His first appearance in this format, he had Andy Hamilton in his group, Kevin Painter in his week. He's had big name players everywhere you look. In his second appearance, he's had world champions in the likes of Lisa Ashton there. Trina Gulliver.
140. Steve requires.
Basically, what I'm saying is, when he plays the likes of Robert Fall and Martin Adams, you're used to playing legends of the game.
139. Conor, you require 86.
And this is some start. Bullseye for a 12. Well, the treble leads double 7 for the 12. 12 darts it is. Break your throw it is. And Conor Heneghan is 2-0 up.
Look at the numbers.
Conor to throw first.
Incredible. And Steve Beaton, it's happening again to him. Conor Heneghan is certainly ready for this one.
60.
His highest average here is 115.62. That came in a Group B session. $134. 41. That first up, perfectly laid for more. So far, this has been a perfect performance from Conor Heneghan.
137.
And Steve Beaton here is just almost having to resignatory put his hands up and say, at this present moment in time, I'm trying my best, but my best just isn't sticking against this fella.
170.
Well, best may be the word, because this average from Conor Heneghan, as things stand, is not far off the absolute best we've ever seen here at the Super Series. That currently held by Daryl Pilgrim, as a lot of the records currently are.
60. Connie requires 74.
Well, Conor Heneghan's 115.62 is 5th joint on the all-time list of highest averages ever in this building. Double 16 for a 3-0 lead, and the average right now 112.73. Probably needs a 4-visit leg if he's going to go in excess of the extremities that he has before.
There's only one word you can use to describe this, and this is elite.
97.
It's an elite performance from Conor Heneghan. But he's still got to get the job done.
50.
Still got to cross that line. Something he hasn't done for a couple of games. Lost his last 2 matches. There's both to Joe Murnan.
99.
How many times have we said in the past, players can have purple patches like this, real or free legs, feel great, and then suddenly you realise the finishing line approaches and you're playing very well and you know your average is good. And suddenly the mind can just change, can't it, in an instant?
I think some of it is what you just said there. The average is very good.
And I don't care what anybody says. They know when they're playing well and something's very high, don't they?
140.
Well, Peter's making some inroads here.
83.
I mean, he's averaging here, Steve Beaton, 101.5, and he hasn't had a dart at a double after 3.5 legs.
56. Steve require 82.
Double 16. It's his first double all game. That's a 13 dart response. He's forced Conor Heneghan to serve this one out. Game of the week without any shadow of a doubt.
Conor to throw first. Game on. .58.
But suddenly the task becomes different for Heneghan. It won't be about record-breaking average. It'll be about getting over the line. And the problem that Heneghan's got is he's not playing one of those games where he's playing at extremely high level, tail off, and playing somebody who's been straggling around the mid-80s in terms of averages. Steve Beaton is giving as good an account as his opponent. And so if there is a little bit of a wobble from the Irishman, then the Bonds Adonis is in a position to pounce.
45. .85. 140.
And suddenly, there is a darts match back on here. Let's make no bounds about that. And actually, Steve Beaton, for the first time in this contest, has got the higher average of the pair. 101.08. And he's got 6 to get the break and to bring it back to 3-2.
99.
Sometimes you just got to stick in there and try and weather the storm. Wait for the opportunities. You probably would think at some point Conor's got to drop off. He can't sustain this, but if Steve's going to sustain this game, he's got to take this 120. You don't feel Heneghan the way he's playing. He's 3-on-3 on the doubles here.
88.
And this one's for the match.
38.
To move himself on to 8 points and for back-to-back victories against the Bonds Adonis. Double 19 is found. What a performance from Conor Heneghan. Average of 103.01 and 4 out of 4 on the doubles. Steve Beaton himself had an average in excess of a ton, but he only got 1 dart at a double all game. Have a look at those numbers. Not a missed dart at the outer ring between the pair in that contest. That, the game of the week, and maybe just one of the games that we've seen in Series 10 so far. We're off for a break, and when we return, Agent Gray takes on Joe Murnan. Are you ready to lift that trophy, Darius?
Yes.
Let's do it then.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series 9 champion is Lucky D, Darius Lewandowski!
a wonderful night of darts we have seen, and we are ready. Our champion is ready, and it's trophy. So receive the trophy. £25,000. The new Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And one more time, the 8th Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And the new Modus Super Series champion is Andreas Dirty Harrison. And one more time, the 7th Modus Super Series champion. Give it up for Andreas Dirty Harrison.
The moment we've all been waiting for. Would you please show your appreciation for your Series 6 Modus Super Series champion, Scott Taylor.
Time, your new Modus Super Series champion. He is Chucky. He is Jim McEwen.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series champion, retaining his title, the Luke Littler.
Welcome back to Pluto TV. Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. And before the break, we saw Conor Heneghan put in the performance of the night, an average in excess of 103 to get the better as Steve Beaton by 4 legs to 1 himself, averaging in excess of a ton. He must be thinking, what more do I have to do to get a victory this week? Well, game number 5 is a meeting between Adrian Gray and Joe Murnan. And for Adrian, he can become the first player to book his place out of Group B with a victory in this one. 10 points is enough for any player to make it out of this group tonight. And if he can win this game, he'll move himself on to that magical mark against Murnan, who's already got a win this evening. He beat Conor Heneghan 4-2 in his opening match of the night. And 2 wins from 2. Joe Murnan perhaps beginning to work his way into this group, Matthew Edgar?
Oh, absolutely. Just a couple of points away now from Steve Beaton, who's lost to Conor Heneghan there. It could come down to Steve Beaton versus Joe Murnan, which would be one of our last games of the evening. Adrian Gray and Conor Heneghan now starting to get a little bit of a cushion. Currently 8 points clear. But that's where a win here for Joe Murnan would start to make things very interesting, wouldn't it, in regards to the league
42.
table.
And suddenly it puts Steve Beaton in a bit of peril, because any win here for Murnan would see him leapfrog Steve because of the margin of defeat that he had against Conor Heneghan last time out. And Beaton will round off his campaign against Adrian Gray. And as you mentioned, Beaton Murnan ends the night. And that could well be as much as a straight shootout potentially to see who seals the final spot through, because Conor Heneghan's in a very healthy position now as a result of that victory. And Adrian Gray knows that one win from his final 3 games of this group is going to be enough to send him into yet another Saturday night. It's a tournament which He is getting closer and closer to winning. Every single time we see him here, he looks more and more likely to cause some real damage and more likely to pick up the trophy come the end of Saturday evening. He's already had a brush of a Saturday final. Lost to Marvin van Velzen, who would then go on to win that particular series.
57.
And he'd be a player that if he was to get to Champions Week could cause some real problems as well for the established names that have made their way through.
Adrian, you require 164.
But he's looking to find a breakthrough here. Looking at 164 to take out the opening leg of the contest. Treble 18's not found.
96. Joe, you require 144.
Return for 68. Murnan looking at 144.
$60. Adrian, you require 68.
So Adrian Gray looking at 68. 16 or 8. Double 16 for the opening leg.
36.
Not to be, so Murnan's got a break chance. May just be the bull at the end of this. Treble 14 leads double 11.
70. Adrian, you require
That felt
32.
almost like a lax start there from Joe. So Adrian looking at double 16 again. But this time he finds not the greatest first leg that we've ever seen on this stage, but it's a leg that's under the name of Adrian Gray nonetheless. 3 more and he's into Saturday.
$140. $59. $45.
See, it was a busy night on the exhibition circuit this evening.
43.
Big Modus event in Worthing. Raymond van Barneveld beat Adrian Lewis 4-2 in the main event. Victory for Simon Whitlock against
97.
Rob Owen by 4 legs of 3. And I see Lee Cox was playing in that particular exhibition in Worthing. Great to see
59.
him there. Lost 2-1 to Robert Owen. Owen Binks was in charge of proceedings there. Which meant for us a little bit of peace and quiet tonight.
140. Joe, you require 120. $82. $40.
Well, Murnan's got options
38.
here. And straight for the double 19. He's going to get one in his hand, a double 8.
30.
Unable to get, and so
Adrian, you require
outside chance, but chance
106.
nonetheless for Adrian Gray to get the breaker through.
$45. Joe, you require 8.
Double 2,
Game
chasing
shot on
around
the
the ball,
second
but
leg.
eventually
Go, Murnan.
finds and eventually gets us back level at 1 apiece.
Third leg, it's Adrian
Yet to see these two really hit their stride as of yet. This the
41.
halfway point of the night, the halfway match of the evening. And it's a game that if Adrian Gray can win will
121.
seal his passage through to tomorrow night's finale. He will get the invitation to Saturday night's showpiece. Although
60.
very much a modern thing here at the Super Series. We'll send him the invitation via email as opposed to carrier pigeon.
100.
Not quite been the same levels, though, has it, for Adrian Gray tonight? He did get the win in the opener, but it looked more like relief for him rather than something he felt like he was in control of.
Well, this could be the quintessential case of
60.
damage being done on night 1 and then just completing the job on day 2. However, he hasn't had to play to a high level to pick up the victories. David Pallett, well, he pushed and probed at points, but Adrian did the damage when he needed to do it. His doubling was decent. And neither player had really got started in this particular contest as of yet. And Murnan here's got 6 darts and 195 to get the break and throw.
$70. $60. Joe, you require 125.
So 125 for Murnan to get the break and open up a 2-1 advantage. Bull. 25. Oh, it's clipped off the flight.
84.
It's come off the flight.
Adrian, you require 140.
That was a really good attempt at the bullseye. You could see it was on line, it was on length, but it took a bit of a diversion. Gray looking to punish, and punish to the hilt. Double 10 for the 140.
Third leg. Adrian
And he
Gray.
knows he's got away with one there. A moment of quality from Adrian Gray. The 140 goes after
Full
Joe
flag.
Murnan
It's
missed the
Joe to throw
bullseye
first.
for the 125.
Game on.
That's his second ton plus checkout of the night. And he wonders where that's come from.
Well, he was averaging under 70 at that point, but it just goes to show every visit is its own individual
99.
visit. Just because the roulette reel has 20 reds doesn't mean the next one's going to be black.
100.
Although, that reaction from Adrian Gray, I thought he was auditioning for Britain's Got Talent. Did you see the guy who managed to get the eyes to pop out of his head?
108.
I've not watched Britain's Got Talent since the days of Twist and Pulse.
Probably too busy doing quizzes or something, knowing you. Or reading something.
85.
Hey, I'm all showbiz. Spent my day off organising a calendar.
96.
Said no one ever, but you.
Somehow therapeutic.
60. Joe, you require 126.
Anyway, Joe Murnan looking to rearrange this particular contest. 6 darts at 126 to level up at 2-2.
58.
And he's the one, all jokes aside, that's just seemingly been able just to up the quality a little bit. I know he got hit by the haymaker by Adrian in the previous leg, but he's the one that's seemingly just been able to drag the level up
Joe,
a little
require
bit.
68.
Potential 14 darter hit.
Game
Finds
shot
a
on the
double
full
2. Now
flag.
that
Joe
could have
Murnan.
got a little bit dicey, but no mistakes there for Murnan, and we are level at 2-2.
Fifth flag. It's Adrian to throw first. Game on.
Well, I just wonder what's next up on the horizon for both of these players after their trials and tribulations are done here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Adrian has qualified through the ADC system on a few occasions, and around about this time next month, the eyes of the darting world will converge on Bradmore Farm in Aylesbury, which has very much put itself on the darting map, hasn't it?
50, sir.
The last few years or so. 2 years ago, if I asked you where's Aylesbury, you wouldn't be able to put it on a map. But now everybody knows where Aylesbury is. And it's the second weekend of the Winmore Championship Tour for both the men and women. Events 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 will take place on Saturday the 10th and Sunday the 11th of May. The top 8 players from both those orders of merits, well, at the end of the year, they will play in a special finals day here. For the men, the ADC Tour Championship Finals takes place on the afternoon of Saturday the 18th of October.
60.
For the women, it takes place on Saturday the 22nd of November. They will both kick off in the early afternoon, and they're also, for the first time this year, going to be available to watch live on Pluto TV. And that'll be the first two of the ADC majors that will be broadcasting in 2025, because at the end of the year, well, we've got a real treat for you. The ADC Global Championship will roll into town on the 1st of December, and we've got 2 weeks straight of darts before Christmas, and we'll then round things off at the beginning of 2026 with the finals, where the champion of which will get £60,000 from a £150,000 prize pool. Both players in this leg on 111. Murnan with the break opportunity. Down for treble 17. Doesn't get, so Adrian Gray looking at what Murnan couldn't get.
91. Adrian, you require 111.
So Murnan
59.
looking at double 10 to get his nose in front. For the first time in this game as well, Joe Murnan would lead.
Game shot on the 5th leg, Joe Murnan.
And he now has the darts to complete the job.
6th leg, it's Joe to throw first. Game on.
As well, the incentive for the Global Championship this year, the prize money, £60,000, but also more opportunities. The field, well, effectively being doubled and more. It was 24 players last year, 56 in 2025.
80.
And the opportunity literally comes on your doorstep now, doesn't it? Because you can turn up to a local vault, do well there, play in a regional final, win a regional final, and then play it at a tournament which is
95.
worth that kind of prize money.
$60.
I believe that would make it the richest prize outside the professional game.
It's the biggest prize outside the PDC.
98.
£60,000 to the winner. That's quite literally life-changing money for somebody. Particularly, say, the winner is somebody who comes to a qualifier we haven't seen too much of, has the best fortnight of their lives, and they go on and win it. That could be the making of somebody, not just their darts career, but in terms of paying off a mortgage, in terms of sorting their life up and setting their life up. It's an incredible opportunity. We'll talk more about that as the night goes along. Murnan looking at 108 to complete a 4-2 victory. He's been able to go up through the gears when Adrian Gray is just... Well, he's had a grey matter in this particular contest, hasn't he? Tops to seal it with a ton topper. Tops is found, and Joe Murnan here really is beginning to climb up the table. He'd lost each of his first 3 games. Now he's won 3 on the spin, and now asking real questions of those at the top of the table. Adrian Gray had an opportunity to qualify through there, but now he's going to be precariously looking over his shoulder. Joe Murnan with a 4-2 victory against the conqueror who's been conquered in that contest. Coming up after the break, David Pallett takes on Heneghan, who can seal his place through a victory.
$54. Charlie McGuire, 164. $44. $32. Charlie required 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls of this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
required
side
60.
to become Back-to-back singles champion.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts, but he'll be coming back.
It's a moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the stage, approaching the hockey with a chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone. I think he's gone to bust it, maybe. The first title he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust, and
39.
on that situation there, George Scaife wasn't even able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia requires
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
Charlie
Threw the entire body into that one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
Georgia require 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy. Couldn't get the job done.
And the match! And the Red Dragon
George
Modus
Scaife.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Scaife!
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. 5 games played on this Friday night, and this is what we have seen. So far, so good for Joe Murnan. He's now won each of his last 3, and he now finds himself in a qualified position in the group. Steve Beaton won his first match, then lots of a ton plus average against Conor Heneghan in game number 4, and this is how the table looks going into the second half of the evening. Adrian Gray, Conor Heneghan both on 8, 1 more win for them and they'll be through. Joe Murnan and Steve Beaton, well, they look like they're in a bit of a dogfight for that final position through to tomorrow evening's finale. And game number 6 is a meeting between Conor Heneghan and David Pallett. Now, if you're unfamiliar with these two players, David Pallett is the man in the blue shirt, sky blue shirt, black shorts and black shoes. Conor Heneghan is the man in the sky blue shirt, black trousers and black shoes. And as you could tell, Matt, my football commentary may have creeped in for a second there.
Yeah, which one's David Pallett again?
He's the one in the sky blue shirt. I got to think about this.
First leg, it's David to
It's
throw
not difficult,
first.
Henry. He's wearing black
I know
trousers.
it's not. It was a cheek gag. It failed. Okay, move on. Game on. Pallett to throw first.
139.
The worst bit is I've got Man City in the early kickoff tomorrow, and I know for a fact I'm probably going to say sky blue shirt and trousers now.
60. $92.
I think this is one that's going to go on the bingo card at the end of the year.
No one had that on a bingo card, Henry. No one expected you to
100.
announce someone wearing shorts.
$140.
Well, Pallett with that 140 in the sky blue shirt and the trousers has left himself on 130 after just 9 darts.
Looking to make short work of this
57.
leg.
David, you require 130.
Well, he's certainly hoping to taper the hopes of
Conor Heneghan, who
58.
could qualify with a victory in this one.
108.
Well, Heneghan with a match.
David, you require
Please, David,
72.
just get this done. Just get me out of my misery, please. Double six. Right,
Game
that
shot on
leg's
the
over.
first leg.
15 darter
David
David Pallett. Let's move on and forget everything that has happened before.
Second leg, it's Conor to throw first. 100. 56. 60. 60. 84. 44.
Well, Heneghan on throw here. Looking to take the cards. Looking to level this match up at 1 apiece. A contest that, if he wins, he will be through. And maybe he can put his shorts up for a few hours before then getting ready for tomorrow night's action.
60. 60.
'Heneghan's left himself on 1-3-8-2. Level this game up at 1 apiece. And because Pallett couldn't find the second triple there, he is going to have space and time.
$58.
Full control of the leg. He's left himself on 80 to level up at 1-1.
105. Conor, you require 8.
And if he doesn't get, Pallett may get a dart upon his return. Has to be careful not to catch here. Tops.
60.
Doesn't go, and
You
so
require
Pallett will come
76.
back for 76 to get the break. Double 18. 2-0 Pallett.
Second leg, David Pallett.
And he has stolen that leg from Conor Heneghan,
Third leg, it's
who
David
may
to
feel a
throw
little bit
first.
shortchanged.
Game on.
Well, when you look at the last 4 performances of Conor Heneghan, 99, 76, 83, 103. It's very in and out, isn't it, at the moment?
Inconsistent feels like the appropriate word.
58.
Seconded. Playing a lot more fluent as well now, David Pallett, isn't he? It was very stiff at the start of the night. Felt like it could be quite a long evening, but starting to get the arm moving a little bit easier now.
120.
What's the first football team that you
92.
think of with sky blue shirts, Matt?
Coventry.
Yeah, I was hoping you weren't going to bring up Coventry after Wednesday.
100.
So why ask me a question about Sky Blue when they're called the Sky Blues?
$140.
Pallett leaves himself on 86 after 12. He stole the previous leg from
81.
Conor
David
Heneghan against
require
Throw, and
86.
now looking to open up a 3-leg lead in this match. Double 16.
70.
Not to be, and so
Conor, you
Heneghan will
require
come back looking at
142.
1-4-2 to reduce the gap back down to 1. Couldn't find the second, and the second would have given him a dart at tops. And so Pallett back for double 8 to extend his lead to 3.
101. David, you require 16.
Is there, should Pallett make the mistake? I think he thought that was in the second he thrown that one. That is.
On the third leg, David Pallett.
No mistake. Pallett 3-0 up.
Fourth leg, it's Connor to throw first.
Are we seeing
Game
David Pallett start to get the fluency back in his throw again? At the moment,
60.
the realistic possibility of qualifying has now gone.
Well, I suppose there's not the stress and the duress now, is there? He can kind of just flow a little bit more because he
56.
knows that realistically his race is right. Now, he can still finish on 6 points, but the problem he's got is because Beaton and Murnan face one another, one of them has to finish on 8 points.
What's he like from a winning position? Just needs the 1 leg. We know the hardest one to get is the last. It's good to see him back playing at this level again, isn't it, Dave Pallett? Being super competitive.
Well, we said yesterday that results are probably a byproduct. I think for him it's more how he feels out there, how he acclimatises to things. Yet he wants to get wins, but there's a greater power at play for him. A little bit like, I know the circumstances are different, but Jamie Lewis a few weeks back.
140.
Just
looking
to see whether there's that flame that's still there, whether he feels like there is an avenue for him to really grow. And
32.
David Pallett wants to give this another really good go, and this is a real big step in the right direction for him. But it looks like he's going to be forced to serve this particular contest out, with Heneghan coming back for tops to bring it back to 3-1. And Pallett is going to have to win this game on his throw.
Fifth leg, it's David to throw first. Game on. $100. 140.
Starting to find a bit more regularity now, Conor Heneghan on the treble 20. He looked up, he saw what David Pallett was doing and shook the head. Maybe feels the task is a bit too big despite the improved performance.
45.
Certainly now.
But certainly the signs here for David Pallett are far more positive in this one. And if he can finish here with a couple of back-to-back performances that are fairly good, I think he'll look back on this experience over the course of the couple of days. Yeah, it's disappointing he hasn't qualified through to the Saturday.
95.
But I think there'll be a smile on the face and maybe a bit of a motivation to have another go at this, have another crack at this, and to move himself back in the right direction.
89.
There'll be a lot of people with smiles on the face right now. There's a lot of people that are big fans of David Pallett. He's a very likeable guy out on the tours.
134.
Yeah, really good guy, and I can attest to that. Double 16 for Pallett to pick up what would be just a second win in this group, and it would keep Conor Heneghan waiting in terms of qualifying. And he finds the double 8, and he finds just a second win in this group. But a really good performance that from David Pallett. A step in the right direction for him. But Conor Heneghan, a step in the wrong direction, a shake of the head as he departs the stage. A 4-1 loss off the back of a 4-1 win, averaging 103. So he's made to wait. Next up, Adrian Gray takes on Steve Beaton.
Beautiful.
Game shot the
Absolutely
first leg.
beautiful. And that is the end.
He produced the best finishes of his game so far.
Bullseye. And Ryan Brantley. This to see it through. Double 11 for the match. Double 11 for 3-0 win.
Oh, I like this a lot. He loves it a lot.
Oh, perfect. Another one of them. Tops. The Highlander hits the height. The final week of qualification is almost upon us here at the Super Series. And a former Week 12 winner is going to be in the field. John Henderson in Group A, alongside a couple of people that we know very well here. Keegan Brown spends his days in the commentary box. Jared Colwell, he's usually the man in our ears, spotting here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Christian Perez and Lorenzo Pronk also in that group. Lewis Gurney will be back on the Live Lounge stage for the first time in a couple of years. And looking forward to seeing Ryan Brantley back here at the Live Lounge. He created quite the stir, didn't he, last time? The action gets underway at 9:30 a.m. on the Monday, the 14th of April. That's the Monday coming up here at the Modus Super Series. Right, we are 6 games down, 4 left to go. And for Adrian Gray, an opportunity to qualify through to Saturday's final. He'll do so with victory here against Steve Beaton, who now finds himself outside a qualifying place. And you get the sense for the Bronze Adonis that there's a feeling of now or never about things. If he doesn't win this one, it could well be a winner-takes-all match with Joe Murnan in the last to seal his place through. And who would have thought that we'd be in this position, Matt?
Well,
First
normally you'd
leg,
think you
it's
play the way
Adrian to
Steve
throw
Beaton
first.
has, and it's enough.
Game on.
He averaged 100 in his last game and lost.
Not just did he lose, he only won one leg.
He averaged 94.76 yesterday and lost. He seems to
100.
find a way to lose games here at the Super Series, does Steve Beaton.
82.
It's like the opposite of that phrase, isn't it? What is it? Snatching victories from the jaws of defeat.
Indeed.
Flip it the way around for
100.
Steve. Seems to find defeat.
42.
The way Steve Beaton's bad luck has arisen this week, I just wonder whether on his way into the venue on Monday morning, whether he walked
58.
underneath a ladder next to a mirror shop which had a broken mirror and a black cat was sat next to him.
Isn't it supposed to cross his path?
108. He
Probably did that as well. That's a 180 for the Bronze Adonis, and it puts him in control of this opening leg against the throw unless Gray can find another treble.
100.
That's that perfect.
137.
Finds a couple to leave
Adrian
himself.
Require 143.
In situ, unless Adrian Gray can find the Gary Neville.
$81. Steve requires 60.
So 60 required for Peter to get the break in the opening leg.
20.
Not to be, so
Adrian
Adrian will
requires
return for
62.
62 to get his nose in front, and it mean that he'd be 3 legs away from qualifying through to tomorrow night's finale. Triple 10, he's double 16, now up for double 8.
54. Steve require 40.
So tops here for the Bronze Adonis.
Game
Double
shot the
10
first
foul,
leg.
Beaton
Steve
breaks
Beaton.
and leads 1-0.
Second leg, it's Steve to throw first. Game on. 54.
Now, as we're approaching the midnight hour, I'm going to channel my inner Paul Nicholson.
140.
That shirt of Steve Beaton.
57.
What does it remind you of? What kind of games does it remind you of?
Darts.
95.
And it reminds me of a Grand Slam quarterfinal that he played against Phil Taylor back in 2010.
140.
Perhaps his finest hour as a PDC player. He'd beat the Power, came charging back against the Power to win that particular contest.
140.
He had 12, 13-9 and 14-11 in a race to 16. He won 16-4 to reach the semi-finals of the Grand Slam
Adrian, you require
at
126.
the Wall Civic Hall. He would eventually go on to lose in the semi-final of that particular competition. As Adrian Gray looks at the bull for the 126.
101.
Clips the 25
Steve
wire.
require 157.
Players unable to get the 157, so Gray will come back looking at 25
57.
to
Adrian, you require
square
25.
this contest up. Double 8. Not to be, and so Beaton will be back
Steve
for a ton
require
to
100.
open up a 2-0 advantage in the match. Tops was always the play there. The way Dart 1 laid, and he
80.
almost found the
Adrian, you
second there.
require 8.
Adrian Gray, look at a double 4 to square this match up at 1 apiece. Clip off the barrel and in.
It's
It's
on
a
the
break
second
back.
leg. Adrian
He
Gray.
returned to throw at 1-1.
Third leg, it's Adrian to throw first. Game on. $97. $60.
I mentioned that quarterfinal win against Phil Taylor. He'd gone to lose in the semi-final, 16-9 to Scott Waits, who had then beat James Wade in that famous final, 16-12. And the only player
100.
in the history of the Grand Slam of darts to have won it as a BDO player back in the days where it was a split organisation tournament.
Arguably the best days of the Grand Slam of darts as well. Did have a very unique feel to it, didn't it, when it was a
85.
cross-coded, branded event.
Well, it just felt like that was the identity of the tournament, wasn't it? And I think
66.
since obviously the demise of the BDO and the restructuring of the competition, I think they're still trying to find what is the right identity for the Grand Slam. Now, we know that next year it's going to be moving to 48 players, pools of 3. And I suppose in a climate where there's a lot of competitions that are fairly similar, for an established competition like the Grand Slam that had that identity, but subsequently
33.
other remits have meant that they've had to lose that, it's then difficult to then find that USP again.
Yeah, without just
97.
repeating.
Adrian, you require
events.
146. $114.
A good set-up turn there for Adrian to leave himself on 32, to move 2-1 up and to move himself to within a couple of legs of
94.
qualification
Adrian, you
for tomorrow
require
night's
32.
final. Beaton is on his tail if this doesn't go. And his doubling hasn't quite been as prolific as it was yesterday.
Game shot on the third leg.
So
Adrian
he
Gray.
manages to find that. He's missed 8 darts at a double so far in this contest, but importantly for him, he
Fourth
has a
leg. It's
2-1
Steve to throw
advantage.
first. Game on.
And importantly for him, he is a couple of legs away from
137.
getting what he came for. That's a place through to Saturday's final.
$60. $140. $140. $85.
Well, we saw a brilliant battle between
60.
Heneghan and Beaton in
Steve
game 4 of the
required
night, but this game
139.
really does feel like one of those match play type games, if you get what I mean. Both players just trying to
44.
claw as much out as possible and just trying to get one up over one another. It's not them at their peak, it's not them at their worst. This is almost both of these players playing their B games, but which B game is better than the
140.
other?
Steve required 95.
Old school for Steve Beaton. The 91 to 95 going bullseye 25 first, because it should give you a dart to get out, and
Game
Steve
shot of
Beaton
full
does
flag.
get out,
Steve
finds a
Beaton.
way round the 25. Big visit, big hit. Adrian Gray may have
Fifth
thought he
leg,
was
it's
coming
Adrian
back
to
for an
throw first.
opportunity to
Game on.
get a breaker throw there, but Steve Beaton just looks bemused.
And you can hardly blame him the way this week has panned out.
81.
There's an irony here that he could be putting in one of his worst performances of the group, and yet it could be the one that gets in the points, where in his previous match,
99.
he averaged 100.5, and he had 1 dart at a double in the whole contest.
$41. $42. $59. $36. $108.
Well, finally a max for Adrian Gray. And maybe a moment just stretches this leg away from Steve Beaton. Has felt like the last leg or so, these two have kind of been stuck at a bit of a stalemate.
140.
McGray with 6 darts and 140 to move himself 3-2 in front and 2 within a leg of qualifying through to Saturday's finale.
100.
Tops his left.
$45. Adrian, you require 40.
Double top.
Game shot on the fifth leg.
3-2 to Adrian Gray.
Sixth flag. It's Steve to throw first. Game on. $140.
Another example of the Adrian Gray phantom throw.
$81.
I suppose made famous in this building more than anybody
93.
else by Darrell Pilgrim.
100.
Well, Beaton here on throw, looking to take us all the way to a last leg decider.
29. $100. 99. 100. Steve, you require 140.
So Beaton looking at 140 to take us all the way. If he doesn't get, Adrian Gray has reached qualification point.
116. Adrian, you require 120.
120 points away from qualification through to Saturday's final. But he's not going to get the opportunity there and then, much to his frustration. And so Beaton will be back for double 12 to give us what would be just a second
44.
last leg decider that we've seen
Steve,
tonight.
require 24.
Double 6.
Game shot
And
on
it
the
goes.
6 flag.
And we
Steve
go the
Beaton.
distance. And Steve Beaton won the only previous game tonight that's gone to the wire.
7 for
That was a
final
4-3
leg.
success
It's
against
Adrian
David
to the
Pallett.
First. Game on.
Can he do something likewise against Adrian Gray to give himself the best possible chance of progressing through? It would also put him onto 8 points in the group. It would mean 3 players would be on that particular
60.
marker. And it'd be bad news for Conor Heneghan ahead of his game against Adrian Gray in match number 9, because it would mean that he would be the one that could all of a sudden be facing the trapdoor, particularly if Joe
58.
Murnan can beat David Pallett.
$43. 81. 100.
Defeat here would be really damaging for Steve, wouldn't it?
58.
Well, it'd just make it a straight shootout, wouldn't it, really, with Joe Murnan? Although, if Murnan was to win his game with David Pallett, it may need to be by a
100.
score.
$58. 94.
Oh, Steve Beaton can't leave a finish from here.
41.
Adrian Gray guaranteed
require
6 starts now.
104.
Steve Beaton could find himself in problem land.
For Adrian Gray to wrap up qualification.
72.
But double 16 doesn't go.
Knows he'll be back.
81. Adrian, you require
This for the
52.
match.
And this for Saturday night.
Game shot
Adrian
and the
Gray
match.
is into
Adrian
Saturday. And once again, the conqueror is into the big money night here at the Live Lounge. And he knows that 10 points is enough to see him through. For Steve Beaton, well, he is in big trouble, isn't he? He's going to have to win his last game, otherwise he could be out. And Joe Murnan, well, if he wins this by a scoreline, could well put the final seal on Steve Beaton's fate. He takes on David Pallett after the break. you ready to lift that trophy, Darius?
Yes.
Let's do it then.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series 9 champion is Lucky D, Darius Lewandowski!
Well, what a wonderful night of darts we have seen, and we are ready. Our champion is ready, and it's trophy time. So receive the trophy. £25,000. The new Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And one more time, the 8th Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And the new Modus Super Series champion is Andreas Dirty Harrison. And one more time, the 7th Modus Super Series champion. Give it up for Andreas Dirty Harrison!
The moment we've all been waiting for. Would you please show your appreciation for your Series 6 Modus Super Series champion, Scott Taylor!
One more time, your new Modus Super Series champion. He is Chucky. He is Jim McEwen.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series champion, retaining his title, the Nuke, Luke Littler!
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. 3 more games to go on this Friday night. And next up on the menu, Joe Murnan up against David Pallett. Before the break, Steve Beaton fell to another defeat. 4-3 to Adrian Gray. That leaves him on 6 points and leaves him behind the 8 ball. And 8 points is what Joe Murnan could be on here with victory in this one against David Pallett. For Joe, he lost his first 3. He's won his last 3. But how is he going to finish up his campaign? There's a possibility that he could be the man that comes through in second spot. And it could well be potentially a straight shootout between Conor Heneghan and Steve Beaton as to who the final spot through could be. Because if Heneghan loses to Adrian Gray, it would mean that any win for Steve Beaton against Joe Murnan in the final game of the night would be enough to send him through to the showpiece occasion again.
$128.
But there were signs that David Pallett was just beginning to trend in the right direction, though, wasn't there, in that game against Conor Heneghan last time out?
Yeah, that was good
100.
from David Pallett. When you look at the averages, they've not been too much different tonight. But the performance,
60.
the demeanour, everything felt so much better.
Well, it's a lot about darts, which is about feeling, isn't it? And the feeling has been for David Pallett a little bit better tonight than it was yesterday.
59. $59. 96. $58. $140. $85. Joe, you require 63.
So Murnan looking at 63 to take out the opening leg. 10 leads double top. Tops of Murnan.
43. David, you require
To be, so
111.
Pallett looking at 111 to get the break. Oh, he's gone the little away. Bull. Haha, but he gets the treble 11, and so it's double 14.
Game shot on the first leg. David Pallett.
Well, that's Swanway taking out the 111, and Pallett gets the break to lead 1-0.
Second leg. It's David to throw first. Game on.
That's the quality and the flair that makes him
96.
such a popular figure.
He has got that little bit of a quirky side about him, doesn't he, David?
Cheeky.
26.
One of my favourite moments in darts was David Pallett. 170 finish against Daryl Gurney.
And you can tell a couple of
56.
things. A, it's getting hot in the room. And B, David Pallett means business because the other collar has been
60.
removed from the shirt. I can confirm he's not wearing shorts, by the way.
78. $42. $56. $100.
Well, Pallett got the break in the opening leg with that incredible 111 finish. And now has got 6 starts on 215 to double his lead to 2-0.
140.
And that 140 leaves him on 75.
$80. David, you require 75.
It's double top. It's
Game shot on
2-0
the
Pallett.
second leg.
And
David
this,
Pallett.
well, this puts a real spanner in the works because Pallett wins this.
Third leg. It's Joe
Murnan's
to throw
locked on
first.
6.
Game on.
Heneghan on 8. That would be enough. It'd be enough for him because
95.
Murnan plays Beaton in the last game and only one of them's then guaranteed to 8 points. So for Conor Heneghan, his Christmases could be coming at once here.
42.
Oh, the hurly-burly of permutations on a Friday night.
81. $99.
Connor will be aware of those as well, won't he? He's been here so many times before. He knows how the system works.
121. $92. $95. 98. Joe, you require 109.
So Murnan looking at 109 to bring it back to 2-1. 119's not got, and so David Pallett's left
David,
with
you require
the finisher you were talking about not too long ago, the 170. He'll definitely go for the bullseye. He will definitely go for the bullseye. And he almost got the bullseye as well.
You require 40.
And so double 10 for Murnan. 5's now to half the gap.
30.
Bends the wire, but
David,
cannot
you
find a way
require
through.
25.
And so Pallett for the double break, looking at double 8.
9.
Oh, that was low.
Joe, you require 10.
Might have been pulled that last start. Can't quite see because he couldn't get an angle of the throat.
Game shot on
But
the
Murnan
third
pins
leg.
the double
Joe
5 to reduce the gap back down to 2-1. Not been vintage from Murnan so far.
Fourth flag. It's David to throw first.
And
Game
there
on.
could well be an antiphesization of his campaign, Joe Murnan, who started slowly
60.
but won his last couple, but then started well tonight, and he could well go out with a bit of a whimper.
95. $100. $100.
This is good. This is
108.
quality. David Pallett, Joe Murnan, just feels like he's hanging on a little bit, doesn't it?
Well, the
96.
2-0 lead
David, you require
was
161.
reduced to 1, but he has got 6 starts from here to re-establish the gap. And you get the sense if he doesn't do so, this game could change very quickly. If Murnan can whittle away the lead, then
64.
you may sense his favourite to take the game from that point onwards. Pallett leaves himself on 97, but how handy a suit can Joe Murnan leave it?
98.
Picks off one
David, you
treble.
require 97.
Treble 18. Well, decided to go treble 14 with dart number 2. Murnan here only needs the 1 treble to
81.
leave himself
You
on a double at
require
the end of the
112.
combination. You see his opponent hit the 111. Can he find the 112? But he's found said treble, but he's missed the big number. He did the hard work
72.
and then went
David,
laps
you require 16.
in terms of concentration on the single 12. And so Pallett will come back. Double 8. 2 4s for a 2-leg lead.
12.
And because he hasn't found
You
2
require
2s,
40.
this game could be level at 2-2, much to his frustration. He knows he's missed a big opportunity there.
No score.
But Joe Murnan bends the
David, you
wire but cannot
require
punish.
4.
An ironic raise of the eyebrow. A reprieve for Pallett. In the madhouse.
Game shot on the full
Finds the
flag.
double
David
1
Pallett.
eventually. Clutch in the end for David Pallett as he moves 3-1 to the good.
Fifth flag. It's Joe to throw first. Game on. 83.
Just trying to throw him a bit quicker, isn't he, Joe Murnan? Trying to find some feel. Trying to get some rhythm.
$140. $100. $51. 97. $100.
Well, Murnan here, 6 starts on 2-2-1, a leg which has been a little bit of a stalemate at times.
60.
But only a 60 there has now opened up the door for Pallett potentially to take this game by a 3-leg margin. And that first dart sat perfectly for him. And able to use it.
81.
Oh, and he's let that one slip for the last. He's left himself at a finish, but it should have been far more makeable than 1-2-9. It should have been a single treble to leave a dart at a double. Instead, it may well be a single treble to leave himself a dart at the bullseye.
45. David, you require 129.
Luckily for him, Murnan hasn't made similar inroads.
$39. Joe, you require 116.
You go your own way, Dave. Murnan looking at 96 from here, not going to get, and so Pallett
52.
will return for 90. May just be a
90.
dart at the bullseye at the end of all of this. Well, it begins on the bullseye. And is going to end on the bullseye.
65.
But just like his first
Joe, you
dart, clips
require
25. And so
64.
Murnan to extend this game furthermore and to force Pallett to serve it out in the next. The treble 8 leaves tops.
44.
Doesn't go, and so
David,
Pallett
you
returns to the
require
match. Looking at
25.
25 to put the cap on a 4-1 victory and to severely dent Joe Murnan's opportunity of progressing his way through.
9. Joe, you
And
require
importantly as well,
20.
that would have been to have sent Conor Heneghan through as well. And he's going to get 3 more match
16.
darts here, Pallett,
David, you require
to get over the line
16.
4-1. And to end his campaign with a victory.
And
And he's going to finish up with
David
6
Pallett.
points to his name. It was a sluggish start which perhaps put paid to his chances of making it through. But what he has done is sent Conor Heneghan through to Saturday's finale. That 4-1 win means that Hino's going to be in the finale. And it means that game 10 between Joe Murnan and Steve Beaton is going to be a straight shootout to see who's going to join him and Adrian Gray, who go head-to-head in our next match on the other side of this commercial break.
$54. Charlie require 164. $44. $32. Charlie require 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls of this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
require
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
$40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts. But he'll be coming back.
The moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the
81.
stage,
Charlie
approaching the
require
Yoki with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone.
Georgia
I think
require
he's gone to
118.
bust it, maybe. The first title he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust, and
39.
on that situation there, George
require
Scaife wasn't even
9.
able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia requires
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
Charlie
Threw the entire
requires
body into that
8.
one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
Georgia require
I
20.
think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy.
Go!
Couldn't get the job
Yes!
done.
Got out the match! And the Red Dragon
George
Modus
Skate.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Skate!
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. 2 games remain here on this Friday night. Joe Murnan lost out to David Pallett by 4 legs to 1 before the break. So that means that Murnan and Beaton will now be in a shootout to see who is going to be the final player through to tomorrow night's final. That win for David Pallett meant that his departure present was to gift Conor Heneghan a place through to Saturday's final. He takes on Adrian Gray, who, to top the group, needs just a solitary leg to defy Heneghan. If Conor loses this match, then regardless of the outcome of the match between Joe Murnan and Steve Beaton, he would be third in Group B. He just wouldn't know from whom in second place. And it has been, if we're going to be perfectly honest,
95.
as far as Conor Heneghan's night is concerned, up and down.
The whole night's been the way, really, hasn't it? It hasn't quite had the quality of last night. It seems that most people have produced their very best, or certainly the consistency yesterday. Conor Heneghan producing the best performance of the day, 103 average against Steve Beaton. As does most people produce their best against Steve Beaton. It's a common theme, it's a common story.
But for Steve Beaton, the knockout, well, for him and Joe Murnan, the knockout darts have begun early. It's begun a night early. They were hoping to be playing knockout matches on Saturday evening, not Saturday morning. But thus is the way things have panned out.
How does Steve Beaton get in so much drama here at the Super Series? Well, last time there was a drama with that man, Adrian Gray. The man who's looking to top the group went out on an average.
Steve Beaton thought, well, this would be a nice part of my retirement tour. Well, this has turned out to be more stressful than professional life at this present moment in time for him. But Adrian Gray looking to top the group. If he could find this 1-3-1, double 16 would have been some way to have done it. But he is going to come back for 3 more.
$47. Adrian, you require 16.
So this to top Group B.
Game shot on the
Double 8 goes,
leg.
13 dart break, and Adrian Gray will win Group B.
You watch the reaction of the players, don't you? Does he know?
Second leg, it's Adrian to
I don't think he realises that leg means more to him. Because it will. It's a financial benefit. Topping the group is worth more money.
I don't know this for a fact,
60.
but I think Adrian Gray's one of those players that goes, right, let's just get through, and then everything else looks after itself as Conor Heneghan hits a maximum. Remember, he said earlier on this week when he hit the first 9 darter, he wants to become the first player to hit 2 in a week. Well, the floor's yours, Conor.
$135. $40. $30. 60. Connie require 156.
Heneghan looking at 156 and 6 darts on this point to get the break back and to level this game up at 1 apiece. Only a 60 there, but does leave himself on a 2 darter upon his return.
100. Connie require 96.
So Heneghan looking at 96. Now looking at 81. Now looking at double 12.
72.
Grazes the wire.
Adrian,
And
you
perhaps
require
ironically, Adrian Gray's
141.
left himself on 141. It's not going to be got, and so Heneghan will return 2 12s in
65.
hand to
Connie require
square this
24.
contest back up at 1 apiece. Wild dart.
12.
And he couldn't find a response,
Adrian, you
and so
require
Gray's got an opportunity
76.
to move 2-0 to the good. Well, he's managed to get away with that one. The treble 8 leaves himself double 16.
44.
Clips the wire, so
Connie
Heneghan,
require
who's
12.
already missed 3 darts to win this leg, is now looking at 3 more at double 6. 1 more.
Game
And it
shot on the
goes, a
second
clip off
leg.
the
Connie
barrel
Heneghan.
to the top of the post. And back level we are at 1 apiece, a break apiece at the beginning of this contest.
Third leg, it's Connor to throw first. Game on. $177.
But to the best of my knowledge, Conor Heneghan has taken out all of his 9 darters, 141.
60.
So the world's biggest switcher to the 19s. And I suppose in a game like this as
43.
well, now the group's been secured, Adrian will be able to express himself a little bit. But you can also tell these are 2 players that are at the end of long campaigns.
6.
They're almost now ready to say, right, that's it, I'm ready for bed, let's regroup, recharge, ready for tomorrow's shenanigans.
95. $97. 60. 82. Connor, you require 126.
So Heneghan here looking at 126 to make it 2-1. Not to be on this particular occasion.
41.
He's going to come back here for 85.
$41. Connor, you require 85.
To get himself in front, he's got 2 darts in his hand, a double top. Now double 10.
75.
Doesn't go. Adrian Gray with
Adrian,
a
you
big
require
task, big ask.
161.
With the 161. But it's on. But he couldn't quite zoom in on that treble 17.
97. Connor, you require 10.
And 2 5s.
No score.
Unable to convert, and the
Adrian, you
missed
require
double count
64.
goes up for the Irishman. 1 from 11 so far in this contest. He could have been so far in control of this match. But if Adrian Gray finds his double 8, he'll find himself in front with the break. Can he just nudge it across? Yes, he
Game shot on
can.
the third leg.
And Adrian Gray gets the break again. 2-1.
Fourth leg. It's Adrian to throw
I think we're going to be
first.
full in here tomorrow night.
Game on.
We was more than halfway into ticket sales at the start of play today, and then when you look at what we've had, the action, I'm sure Jason Heaver's going to be bringing a few down here for the opportunity to see him up there on the stage. Adrian Gray always brings some people with him. And we could still have Steve Beaton joining the party.
51.
Well, it's a big day of sport in Portsmouth. I suppose today now we can call it. Big game at Fratton Park.
140.
And a big night of darts here at the Modus Super Series at the iconic Live Lounge in Portsmouth.
140.
And I hear on good authority that some very famous boxing podcasters are going to be here tomorrow night. Yes, one of the boxing podcasts are going to be in attendance.
120.
Well, that bounce out means Conor Heneghan is not going to be getting to a finish, and that's why he's ultimately so frustrated that even a single 20 would have given him at least a poke at the 170. Instead, Adrian Gray gets the luxury of time.
96. 100.
Adrian Gray here looking at 82 to open up a 3-1 lead. Looking for the ball to lead double 16. Gray's is the 25. And so it's going to be one solitary dart at double top. Didn't like
62.
dart 2 and he will not like dart 3. That was very low.
90.
A very sleepish dart. Well, both players, as Conor Heneghan hits the most perfect balls there. By the way, he's got away with that because that was in the bullseye again.
You require 20.
But you get the sense now that both players' tanks are empty. They're on the reserve tank. They're trying to get as much mental petrol back as possible, but it's a very hard task right now. Heneghan finds a double 8 to level us back up at 2-2.
Fifth flag, it's Conor to throw first. Game on. $60.
I wonder what we could do. Well, we've got a few moments before the serious stuff begins at the end of this Group B campaign. Let's find the darts nickname generator. Been a real good feature of this week, hasn't it?
Yes, there's been some very interesting names that have come out of that particular calculator.
Generator.
81.
It's 1 o'clock, don't care.
$57.
Yeehaw! Conor Heneghan gets the cowboy. Interesting. Don't think we've had a cowboy really since Bob Anderson, have we?
Well, not his nicknames anyway.
96.
What about Adrian Gray?
$45. Conor, you require 148.
Heneghan looking at 148. He's got 6 darts from here. Not to be on this occasion.
The Prince.
And we've got the Prince here next week, haven't we, in Chaz Barstow playing in Group B. We've got the Prince
92.
and the King of the Castle.
And we've had the Prince of Wales here this week, haven't we? Richie Bennett departed us in Group C action this afternoon.
The original Prince of Wales.
60. Conor, you require 56.
Heneghan 56. Plenty of time on side. Double top.
Game shot
3-2.
flag. Conor
He's a
Heneghan.
leg away from ensuring he's going to finish second.
Sixth flag, it's Adrian to throw first. Game on.
In our final game, it will be the captain, Steve Beaton, against the bullseye bandit, Joe Murnan.
100.
I do think, though, after this week, we really need to retire the darts nickname generator.
Yes.
58.
I think it's a feature that's been fun, but I think it's definitely had its time and place.
I mean, fun's a stretch, but
Hey, it's been a good replacement for the tungsten teaser.
140.
as is anything.
Don't you worry, tungsten teaser fans. We'll be back next week.
132.
Got some good tungsten teasers actually next week.
42.
I know what you're thinking. Makes a change, okay. But don't fault a man for trying.
121.
Well, forget tungsten teaser. This has been a bit of a tungsten twister for Adrian Gray this particular contest. This particular
21.
night hasn't found the levels that he found on Thursday, but he's done enough to get the job done. He's won the group, but it looks like Conor Heneghan is going to get the spoils in second position.
95.
Leads himself on a 2-darter after 12 to complete a 4-2 victory against the Conqueror.
98. Connor, you require 95.
For the match. Double 19 for Hino to finish second. He's been good on this target all week, but he cannot find it on that particular occasion.
100.
And so Adrian Gray comes back looking at a ton to take us all the way. To take us the distance. He's already taken out this finish once tonight. But he cannot find it again.
Connor, you require
And so
38.
Heneghan will come back. Will probably go direct. Does go direct. And he's going to leave himself double 8 to complete it.
22.
Does not go.
Adrian,
And so
you
Gray
require
will be
20.
back looking at double 10 to take us all the way, to take us the distance in our 9th match of the session.
Game shot on
In
the
it
sick
goes,
flag.
and we
Adrian
go all
Gray.
the way. Heneghan free, Gray free, and we have a last leg decider to dictate
7th and final
this
leg.
ninth
It's
game of the
Connor to
night.
throw first. Game on.
Wants to win everything, doesn't he, Adrian Gray? Becoming a true warrior here at the Super
60.
Series. Just no quitting him. Looked like that one had gone and dug deep. Now needs one more leg for a perfect way to end the day. But that release does not work for him, has it? When he's been going for those higher targets, certainly on tops, he's been dropping them low.
140. $60. 100. $58. 60.
Well, Adrian Gray is tippy-toeing towards the finishing line in this last leg.
43.
And the frustration perhaps now just boiling over for Conor Heneghan. Adrian Gray, 6 darts and 201 to complete the job to win a last leg decider.
He's getting the towel. I think he'd happily have thrown it in there,
81.
Conor Heneghan, had he had the choice.
Well, I think he's happy now just to go to tomorrow night and just deal and roll with the punches when he gets there.
100. Adrian, you require
So
120.
Adrian Gray, 120. And 6 darts from here to wrap up his Group B campaign. He's found the treble. He's got the single. Tops to win it in style. To get the
Shot
job
and
done
the
in
match,
style.
Adrian Gray.
Hasn't quite been sparkling for Adrian Gray tonight. Hasn't quite been at his best, but he's done enough to get himself through and to make himself a comprehensive winner of Group B. 12 points to his name. Conor Heneghan is going to finish third regardless of what happens. Our last game of the group, well, that's a shootout between Joe Murnan and Steve Beaton. The winner goes through, the loser heads for home. That's live and next. Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where the final game of the night is a straight shootout between Joe Murnan and Steve Beaton in terms of qualification through to tomorrow night's final. Whoever wins this one will move into second position in the table and will knock the other one out of the qualifying process. Murnan, Beaton, the game that ends the group was the one that started it, and it was a really good performance from Steve Beaton. 96 average to beat Joe Murnan last night. Every single leg that he won in that contest, he won in 5 visits, and he's going to have to draw on that class and experience here if he's to get over the line. He must be scratching his head, Steve Beaton, as to how he's in the position that he's in right now, because he has played probably pound for pound the best darts of anybody this week. He even averaged a ton tonight, and it was only good enough for one leg against Conor Heneghan. Whatever he has mustered, whatever he's been able to put up, it has seemingly not been good enough in comparison to the opposition. And if it is a night which doesn't go to plan, it's not going to be for the want of trying. But Joe Murnan has shown a real durability, stickability over the course of this group. He lost his first 3 matches of his campaign. He beat Conor Heneghan at the end of last night. It just gave him a flickering hope. He then beat Heneghan in his first match. He then go on to beat Adrian Gray, but was then derailed by David Pallett in his previous match, a decline in terms of performance. But for these two, they have to leave it out there here and now. It's Beaton against Murnan. Effectively, this is a tie to dictate who goes through. The knockout darts begins now for them. But on the basis of play tonight, Matthew Edgar, who would you fancy slightly as a marginal favourite?
It's a tricky one. I mean, Steve Beaton, not just on the basis tonight, on the basis of the week, you'd be very surprised if he didn't find a way through. But Joe Murnan started the night strong, back-to-back victories. The last performance wasn't quite there, and the concern for me will be the missed darts at a double for Joe Murnan. 1 from 13 in the last. That will have a lag. That will have a hangover. If he starts to miss again here, that doubt could rear its head. And for that basis, I think Steve Beaton's going to book his place in Saturday night.
58.
Is Saturday night going to be all right for flighting for the bronze Adonis Steve Beaton?
He's tired, isn't he? He's jaded.
But tonight is the night where you make the big bucks.
58. Joe, you require
both players leaving himself on 170. Murnan's turned the throw over in this opening leg. He's unable to get, and so this could well be the type of game which is dictated to by moments, and this may well be the first of which if Beaton can find the big fish. There's the first treble. Just clips the barrel and just underneath with dart 2. He's left himself on 65. He's forcing Murnan to take out the 113 for the break. And he's got the treble. Made sure the single. He had a problem with that in the previous match.
73.
But he also had a problem with bending wires. 65. 1 out of 13 in his match against David Pallett. Steve Beaton just about finds a single free, but makes no mistake of the double 6. First blood goes to the bronze Adonis.
Second leg, it's Joe to throw first. Game on. 100. 100. 85.
Well, you can see with a couple of the darts that Steve's throwing, and you can totally understand why. They're not going in the darts truly. It just feels like maybe it's just the odd 1 or 2 tired darts on the bronze Adonis. And again, you can totally understand and respect as to why.
100.
Match number 23 of the week so far for Steve Beaton. I say so far because he's going to want more.
57.
He doesn't want to go home after being here for the entire week and miss out on Saturday, because Saturday is where you really make your time here in Portsmouth pay.
Well, it's potentially a £30,000 night, because if you win tomorrow evening, you get the 5k win of the week, and then you're in with a chance of picking up 25,000 at Champions Week in just a fortnight's time. It could be a very profitable month if you can get things done at the back end of Series 10.
81. Steve, you
Murnan's left tops to level up if Beaton cannot find the 146. He's not going to. Is this a game that is absolutely destined for a last leg decider? It feels like a game which could be very nip and tuck. And Joe Murnan's got ourselves back level at 1 apiece.
Third leg, it's Steve to throw first.
And the important component for Steve Beaton is this. He's got the darts in the odd-numbered legs. And that could be the wafer-thin margin in which this game is dictated
140.
For Joe Murnan, if he's going to win this contest, thus secure his qualification through, he has to find a break at some point in this contest.
100. $55. 95.
Needs to fill it up to leave himself on a
140.
finish. Unable to do so. So Beaton here, 6 starts on 166 to edge his nose back in front again.
58.
But a failure to find a trouble there has just opened up the door for Joe Murnan somewhat.
$50. Stevie require 108.
That certainly does, because it means Steve Beaton can't take this out. Joe Murnan will now be cursing the fact he didn't shave this down too much,
78.
but it's not
Joe
the worst
require
finish in the world.
135.
Start on the middle of the board, 25 all the ball, found. Treble 15 not found. Steve Beaton will return for double 15 to put himself halfway to the promised land.
One in hand.
26.
Not found. And is this the first real talking point of the contest? Beaton missing a dart to go 2-1 up. Murnan's going to get 2 for the breaker double top. It's double 10.
48.
And it wasn't close. And that is why he is as frustrated as he is. Opportunity knocked. And Steve Beaton makes the most of his second chance to take out the third leg.
Last start in hand as well.
Joe to throw first.
For Joe Murnan, he'll be getting his hopes built up. He may have looked at the board, seen Steve Beaton start standing to attention, blocking up the target, thinks, happy days, I'm coming back. And then Jack Garwood, our referee, calls game shot, Steve Beaton. And all that hope disappears. It's a game that can hurt you. It's the hope that hurts you the most.
97. $41.
Well, a couple of trebles here, and Beaton may well get a break. Doesn't need to have one in this game. Doesn't need to get one in this game. But if he does, the position he puts him in is perilous if you're Joe Murnan.
40. Stevie require 170. $60. Joe, you require 140.
Murnan's in a bit of trouble here. And he's not going to bail himself out with the 140, but he is going to leave himself on tops.
100.
He is going to leave himself on top to level up if Beaton cannot find the 110. It's a finish he's already found tonight. Is he going to get it for a second time?
78.
A width of a wire away from the double 16 to have repeated the feat that he found against David Pallett at the beginning of the evening. And so Joe Murnan looks at double 10, gets double 10, and now the race for the final spot through to Saturday night's final is a best of 3. Beaton 2, Murnan 2, and we are none the wiser.
Game on. $60.
And a traveller's start there for Beaton has opened up the door for Murnan.
60.
Neither player really playing to their optimum levels, which makes you think it could just be one of those games that just goes for the throw. The throw could be the deciding factor. If that is the case, Steve Beaton will be in Saturday night.
$85.
Both players have put absolutely everything into this campaign. And you can tell that there's a couple of tired bodies on that stage. But if they cannot find a second win now, they're not going to have a third day's worth of darts.
58.
It's as simple as that.
Steve Beaton's case, a 6th day of darts. The most important day of darts.
140.
The money day.
Well, Andy Bolton coined the phrase, Saturday night is money night. The pound coins turn into pound notes.
106.
Beaton looking at 106. Trouble 17. He's left himself on a double. If Murnan cannot find the 164, he's not going to. The trend of this game has been hold to throw throughout.
Steve's last score was 74.
Beaton is hoping that that trend continues here.
Game shot on the
it
fifth
does.
leg. Steve
3-2 up. 1 required for a place through to the final.
6th leg. It's Joe to throw first.
All or nothing now for
46.
Joe Murnan. Needs one more big last push. It was this time of night last night, wasn't it, that Joe Murnan got his first win in a Group B campaign. So we know that in the early hours of the morning here in the UK, he can turn it on.
59. $60. $99.
Well, that first dart's plumb.
137.
He's picked up a second treble, and Steve Beaton might be getting closer now. Is that the moment where he's made the move?
Maybe, because Joe Murnan not got a
96.
response. Steve Beaton effectively broken the throw in the scoring phase. Now he's making a move. May look at the ball.
100.
Persisted. Tried to power past. Wasn't able to find. But he will get first poke.
Is it beginning to slip away from Joe Murnan, or can he find a second treble? He does find a second treble. He's left himself on a 2-darter, but it's Steve Beaton. First poke. First opportunity.
65. Joey requires
Joe
76.
Murnan's got one last chance. If he doesn't take this 76, Steve Beaton's got 3 darts at tops. And that's the target Murnan wants.
36.
And it's a target which goes a long way over the bar. And so Beaton, to finally seal his place through.
Game shot and the
It's
match.
been hard work
Steve
for the
Beaton.
Bronze Adonis, but Steve Beaton is eventually through to Saturday night. Boy, he's had to toil for that. He's played some superb stuff all week long, but has snuck through right to the very last. That's how he's done so. 81 average just underneath, 4th and 12 on the doubles. The numbers really are irrelevant in that match. All that matters is Steve Beaton is through to the finals tomorrow night. Myself and Matthew Edgar will have a chat with the 1996 world champion after the break.
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where Group B has been completed, and in the winner-takes-all game before the break, it was Steve Beaton that got the better of Joe Murnan. Adrian Gray won the group, 12 points to his name, so he tops the pile going into tomorrow. Conor Heneghan, the other player to make it through on what has been a dramatic night here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth, and this is how it all panned out. It began and ended with a win for the bronzed Adonis, but Joe Murnan put up a real fight. He lost his first 3 games in this group, but fought through to enforce a last game decider, which was won by Steve, who joins myself and Matthew Edgar in the studio now. Steve, many congratulations on making it through, but hard work?
Yeah, it's been a long week. The problem was it was a good group right from the beginning. And then the other lads obviously come in on the second half of it. But yeah, it's been tough all week. And I mean, Conor had a 9 darter. He's been up and down a little bit, but yeah, there's been some really good games, you know. And when you're expecting to maybe, you know, pinch one here and there, it's brutal, really. It's very it was all down to the last lane in the end, wasn't it?
In some senses, does it make it, even though you don't want to go down to a game like that, did it make it a little bit easier, the fact that it was just a straight knocker, that you didn't have to worry about any round-robin permutations?
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah. You do want to start counting legs and all this lot, but, I mean, yeah, when Dave won, it was, yeah, we knew it was going to be a straight match then. I can't believe that Joe's finished on the bottom because he played so well today, and, yeah, it just shows you, really. I mean, the standard is very good, you know, and I mean, we were getting a bit tired towards the end, but, you know, that's a long week. But
was the last game a case of just trying to eke out as much as you possibly could?
I think I've been very unlucky all week, really. I mean, that's my opinion. I think I played quite well, and okay, I've had the odd slump here and there, but I've been quite consistent, and I'm not getting anything out of it, and you know, I'm looking forward to tomorrow now. It's a clean sheet tomorrow. You know, I'll be firing tomorrow, and you know, it's winner takes all tomorrow. So it's a totally different game again. So yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow now.
Well, it's something that me and Matt were mentioning on commentary. You must have been, in terms of the performances that you put in, you must be really pleased with, particularly the consistency in which you're playing with.
Yeah, but I've been playing it for so long now. You get used to it. You get used to playing a good game and losing. It's the way darts are. I mean, tonight with Conor, I mean, I'm thinking, what am I doing wrong here? And he just bang. But he played so well, and then the next leg he went down again. So yeah, it is frustrating in a way, but then you know how good these players are, and you're hoping to get them on the off day, really.
And I suppose that's kind of been the story of the week, hasn't it, with players? Those peaks and troughs, hasn't it, at times?
It has, yeah. And it seems to be Steve runs into everyone's peak, doesn't it? When we look at the averages Steve's put in throughout the campaign, we look at our Champions Week lineup, and the averages which they've been putting in aren't what Steve was putting in during that Group A campaign. So we'll probably feel a bit hard done by. Use the word unlucky, probably rightly so on this occasion. But now through to Saturday night, David Evans is in there. Jason Heaver played so well in Group C. We've got the ingredients actually this week for quite a blockbuster Saturday.
Have you felt like at times players have almost saved their best for matches against you?
Oh, they're definitely all like playing better against me. Yeah, I know that for a fact. I mean, it's just one of them things, you know. It's the same if I do an exhibition, they all want to. But I mean, that's part of the game, you know. But well, in a way, I take it as a bit of a compliment because they know they've got to play well to beat me. So that's the way I look at it, you know. But it just gets frustrating sometimes. But yeah, that's the game, isn't it?
I suppose this is a weird thing, obviously, for you, obviously taking that, obviously moving away from the professional circuit, thinking, like, come here, enjoy me darts. This is almost as stressful, isn't it?
Yeah, Jason Tane's got a lot to answer to, really. I mean, he said it was going to be a nice, easy stroll in the park, but yeah, it definitely isn't. But no, I mean, it's great. I like the challenge. You know, that's why I play darts. You play to play. And we've got a good crowd, you know, good bunch of lads this week, and we've all had a bit of a laugh. You know, because you've got to have to at the end of the day. You know, you're in the room for 3 or 4 hours together. You know, and we you know we got a good bunch really. But yeah, but end of the day, you know, it's all sorted tomorrow really.
You've seen
today, isn't it now?
It is a few hours time, and you've seen everything here now at the Super Series. Obviously, you've won a Group A. You've now gone through a Group C. You've now gone through a Group B. How did you find playing the late night sessions?
Tough. Yeah, usually I'm in bed by 10, so yeah, it's a bit late for me. But yeah, I mean, you get used to it. Exhibitions like if I was in Ireland, it probably wouldn't start till 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So you do go through these sort of things anyway. But yeah, I preferred the afternoon session. But I mean, obviously, there's only 2 get through from that one. So obviously that everybody favours the evening one. But yeah, it is a bit brutal this time of night. Yeah.
We'll have another quick chat with you in just a second, Steve. Myself and Matt are going to round up everything else that has happened tonight. We'll begin with Adrian Gray, the winner of Group B. Is it fair to say that he kind of did the damage he needed to do yesterday?
Yeah, and the damage was done for Adrian Gray on the finishing. The doubles were fantastic yesterday, and it was good again today. That has been sort of the secret weapon that's helped him win this group, and he's got to keep that going. He's a real key asset, and we know Adrian's not one of these that's going to go up there and constantly pile in the big scores, so he's got to keep that finishing power going. The doubles potential, combination play, fantastic. World-class finishing from Adrian.
Is it a case of maybe, even though he got results tonight, in terms of performances, kind of put that to one side, go in there, clean slate tomorrow evening?
Yeah, and he's going to get some support in here tomorrow night. He always does. He always brings quite a few down, and there's going to be quite a packed house in here already. And that was before we knew the complete lineup with the players coming in this evening. So I'm sure he'll get some support in here tomorrow. That'll probably give him that extra %. And I do think he's going to be another rival. He's came close a few times now, hasn't he? Semi-finals. He's been to a final, not been to a Champions Week yet, though. So that's probably the next step.
In terms of Conor Heneghan, what would be your overall assessment of his progress?
Wow, a bit of everything, isn't it? He had the 9-darter on Monday. He's had some amazing performances, and at times has looked very, very vulnerable and beatable. And that comes in his whole demeanour as well. And he came here not in form. His season isn't going to plan. He's not done well on the Challenge Tour. He didn't have a successful Q School. It was one of them. He was coming here looking for something. He's found bits. Just depends what side he looks at now. Does he see the positives, or is he dwelling? Because as soon as he hit that 9-darter, he certainly dwelled on the negatives, because he went and lost the next 6 legs, and that's what he focused on. It was not the sort of positive side, and that's a little bit concerning.
But there's still been those sparks, and feel free to cover your ears here, Steve, because that performance in the middle of the night, that's what we've come to know of Conor.
Yeah, explosive nature, isn't it? Explosive performance and talent, and the thing that's stopping him from moving to the Pro Tour is the fact of just putting it together on a more consistent basis. The second he can do that, he's going to go far in this game. But I just don't think sometimes these sort of groups suit him, where he's got to come back and put a performance in. Sometimes when you put a performance in, like he did that 103, you want to sort of almost enjoy it. And when you've got to come out 20 minutes later and do it again, we saw what happened. He wasn't able to repeat.
Just a quick word on Joe Murnan. Kind of the slow start yesterday made pay, didn't it?
It did. He lost 3 games. I mean, he played very well tonight, didn't he? And he ended yesterday well with the last game. But this Group B, the damage can be done quite early. You don't have the luxury, because obviously the 5 players in there, you don't have the time to get back into it. We saw it in Group A. David Evans lost his first 3 games and then went on a run and won Group A quite easily. Joe Murnan didn't get that luxury. He didn't have the time.
Well, let's have a look then at the tournament bracket, how tomorrow night's going to look. David Evans won Group A on Wednesday afternoon. Jason Heath and Dan Asprey made it through Group C earlier, whilst tonight we've seen Adrian Gray, Steve Beaton and Conor Heneghan win their places through to the finale. And this is how the groups are going to look for tomorrow night. Steve's going to be alongside David Evans and Dan Asprey, whilst Group 2 will see Adrian Gray, Jason Heath and Conor Heneghan go head-to-head. And for yourself, Steve, 3rd time you've been here, 3rd time you've made it through to a finals. What's been your experience of the previous couple of finals? How have you found the challenge of a bit more of a knockout feel?
Yeah, well, obviously it was a bit different. The last one was a double start, so this was obviously a straight start. But it was what he was saying earlier. I mean, with Conor, I think Conor likes a faster player, and I think he that's what he said to me after the game. He said we got on with it, which is, you know, you've got to put up with slower players and faster players. But yeah, I mean, I looking at the group now, that's very interesting, because I didn't know I'd finish second. I thought I was going to be in the same group as them. So I don't know Asprey. Is it Asprey?
Dan Asprey.
Dan
yeah.
Asprey. I don't know Dan, but obviously I know Dave because he's been here all week. But yeah, I'm quite happy with my little laugh there. I mean, let them lot fight it out that I've been with the last few days. But yeah, good.
And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night. Steve, many congratulations. We shall see you tomorrow evening. We'll let you know.
Thanks for having us here all week again. Really, really wonderful. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, everybody.
Steve, thank you very much. Matt, thank you very much. Plenty coming up across Pluto TV. Coming up next, it's Angry Ginge up against the Bullseye Challenge, the latest as a part of our Influencer series. That's available next here on Pluto TV. That's going to be followed by the Tungsten Talk, where Ted Evans and Fallon Sherritt talk about their historical clash at the Alexandra Palace. Incredible to think that's nearly 6 years ago now. The live darts resumes, of course, tomorrow night from 7:30 as we induct the 11th name through to the Champions League Roll of Honour. And don't forget, on the 11th of May, the Modus Super Series Influencer event returns. It's a sold-out day here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth, and for the first time, it's live here on Pluto TV. But from all of us here, thank you so much for your company on this Friday night, which is all right for flighting for the Bonds Adonis. He's through to the big night. We'll see you tomorrow evening. Take care. Bye-bye for now.
What a finish! What a man! The drum roll finishes, and the target is...